Hello, hello. Apologies for my tardiness. That's what happens when you have a little one, when you have a 8-week-old baby. How's it going, everyone? Hope you're good, hope you're good. There we are.
Trouty McTrout donated $5 Canadian through Super Chat. Happy penultimate race day, Stuffey.
Top man, Trouty. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for the 5. Much appreciated. Yes, penultimate race day. Oh, doesn't it feel like this season has gone on forever? Absolutely forever. Even this race weekend has felt like it's gone on for a very long time. Is it just me? Is it just me? Maybe it's because the championship is kind of like over and done with. Maybe there's that element of like, But yes, only one more race weekend. Hey Greg, hey Rue, good to see you. Good to see FG. Rob, Levy, yes, not long to go. Where's your late note, Scott? I'm sorry. I knew you guys would be able to cope without me for a couple of minutes, okay? How did you cope without me for qualifying yesterday? That's the question. Was you okay? Did you cope? Hopefully you realised what you miss here. You don't realise what you have until it's gone. Eh? You know what? I actually caught the last 10 minutes. I caught the last session. I caught Q3. And I was watching it on TV when I was out. And oh my God, I realise how much I miss the data. I feel like I can't track what's going on with the TV coverage and with the timings and stuff. I was like, where's my data? Where's my track map? Where's my timing screens? I need to see sector times. I need to see where they are out on circuit. This is really getting to me. So, you miss me. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Last carries on with you or without you. That is true, Anthony. That is true. Max robbed again. Max to push Russell wide in T1 so that Russell can complain again. Oh, yeah. Very contentious penalty. I'll admit, I haven't read too much into the actual penalty itself, but I understand none of them are on push laps. None of them are on push laps, and Max has been given a penalty for impeding, which doesn't really kind of make sense, because how can Max be impeding when he's on a cooldown lap? It's down to Russell, if he's also on a cooldown lap, to not run into the back of Max. So it sounds like it's a bit of a fuddy-duddy penalty, to be honest with you. And a one-place grid penalty is the first time in history, I think. We've only seen... It was a second out lap for Merck. Okay, well, still, it's a cool down. It's a slow lap, isn't it? It's not... I don't know. I mean, George has got what he wanted, which is to be started in pole. But I think we're in for an intriguing race today. I think we are in for an intriguing race. I think the McLarens are still going to be good. I think Lewis, as we know, for once, isn't all the way back down. Where is Lewis starting, actually? I actually don't even know where Lewis is starting. Is he starting like... Is Lewis Hamilton... Where is Lewis Hamilton starting? Is he starting in the top 6? I have no idea. 6th. Okay, so he's starting 6th. So he's not completely out of it for once. So I think he's... As we know, Lewis feels always more confident in race trim than he does in qualifying. So, but yeah. But you mixed my qualifying yesterday. Thanks, guys. Thanks. It's called British Bias. I don't know. I don't think it is British Bias. I generally don't know. I think the FIA is in a bit of a shambles at the moment, to be honest with you. Did you see Mohammed Ben Sulayem? He came out and he said about... he went, racing drivers should just focus on racing and leave the management of the FIA to me. It's just like, yeah. Can't wait for someone to personally speed up on a slow lap into someone's back and claim they're being impeded. Yeah. Hey, Peter. Long-time fan of 40 years. Welcome, buddy. Welcome. Any ideas why the Haas had such damage in form from one day to the next? Kevin made it into Q3 and Nico did not. I don't know, to be honest, Greg. I think, as I said, normally what happens in the sprint, is that in between sprint race and the qualifying, of course, drivers are able to make setup changes. So we normally see a bit of a shift in the positions from sprint to the qualifying. And I think there was maybe some, I think from what I caught of the end of Q3, as I said, lack of data, I think the track temperatures were different. And as we've seen with these tyres in particular, and cars, a couple of degrees in track temperature, up or down, can really be the difference in a car performing well or not. So with qualifying being later on in the day compared to the sprint race, we might have seen drivers with those setup changes be higher up than those who weren't. So, yeah. Hey, man, thank you, buddy. Welcome. You think it's fair, though? You're a Max hater. I said, I don't know too much about it other than the fact that they were both on cooldown laps, unless because George technically was on a time lap. But then again, whenever you're out in qualifying, unless it's your out lap, you're always on a time lap anyway. So it depends on whether or not they deem it to be dangerous, but I don't know. I don't think it was. From what I saw, it weren't dangerous. But second last corner, while Russell was about to start his flying lap, compromising the start of his lap. It's kind of dirty and penalty deserved, but that's your opinion. Was George about to start his lap? We'll see. Hey, Kelly. I'm very well, thank you. Hope you're good. We'll wait for, obviously, a few more of you to sift into the stream, and then we'll have a look at the strategy options for today. And hopefully, we get multiple stops here rather than just the one. And have a look at how long these tyres are expected to last for. Don't see the soft tyre really being a viable choice today, as well. It's such a high-loaded circuit here. We saw in the sprint race yesterday, Zhou Guanyu had to pit off of that tyre after yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday, yeah. Forgot I even did the sprint race session. Yeah, he came off that tyre. He was only driving to start on the softs yesterday, and he came off of it after like 6 laps. So really not a tyre of choice today, unless there's like a late safety car or something. I mean, good, Karam. I'm good, thank you. Hope you're well too. Ready for this Qatar race, and I think it's going to be a good one. I think Lando Norris was complaining about his front tyres falling, kind of going off yesterday, even though he allowed Piastri to stay with him. Clean air is king here, massively king. So Max is most definitely going to want to get down into T1 first because he's more likely to be able to control the race from there, and his tyres last longer. It's going to be tricky really to stay as close as we saw in the sprint race yesterday for the duration of stints, because the tyres will just fall off. I think the undercut might be quite powerful here. I think it's quicker. It's quite easier to switch on the tyres here than it has been elsewhere. But then the overcut might be quite powerful as well, come the latter stages of the race, which we've seen the likes of McLaren tend to do throughout the duration of this season, where that tyre usage, those extra 4 or 5 laps might help them. I think personally you probably need a bit more than 5 or 6 laps. It didn't really seem to help yesterday in the sprint race, where we saw the McLarens and the Mercedes have 5 extra laps, 5 older lap tyres compared to the Ferraris. So I think you need to go really beyond 5, 6 laps to really have an advantage on the overcut come towards the end of the race. So we'll see if that plays out or not. Hey, Fios, good to see you. Do I know if Lando was done for swearing yesterday? I have no idea. It'll probably be announced afterwards. So, if Max wasn't Max, maybe then a doubt would be in my mind. But every case, we can't keep saying maybe. Just look at the multiple instances with Max. This wasn't dirty driving, though. There have been examples of Max, yes, overstepping the line. But there's plenty of examples where, yeah, he hasn't. So I don't think that's one where he's purposely trying to get in the way of George. He knows he's probably been informed over the team radio that George is on a cool-down lap anyway, so, or in another out lap. Oh yeah, Ash, good to see you. Whose victory do we seek this week? Who knows? Who knows? Well, 36% of you at the moment think Max Verstappen is going to win this race. But Norris or Piastri will win this race. They're starting in 3rd and 4th. Or Leclerc or Hamilton. Unfortunately, I only have 4 options to choose from. So that's why I have to group Norris and Piastri and Leclerc and Hamilton together. 19%. Not a lot of you have faith in George Russell, it seems. You have more faith in Norris and Piastri and Leclerc and Hamilton than George Russell, who's starting on pole and going for his 2nd win in a row. So, interesting there. No, Max will start P2. Max starts P2. So, but right, there's enough of you in here. Should we have a look at the strategy options for today? I think we should. Let's go. Right. Here we are. So, good news, everybody. Pirelli think this is potentially going to be a 2-stop race. Yes, the 1-stop here. I'm not... am I convinced we're going to see the 1-stop? Don't know. We're on the 2nd hardest compounder tyre, the C1. I think we do go down to a C0, don't we? When we go down to a C0? So... we're on pretty much, one of the hardest compounder tyres that we can get here. A very high-loaded circuit. Full fuel. How long are those medium compound tyres going to last? The medium compound, I think, is the tyre of choice for those to start on. Will we see someone try and bank on a hard tyre to start off with? I don't know. I don't think the overcut has really worked that much this year when you've been out of position and starting on the hard. The alternative strategy hasn't really worked. Being on the medium and trying to make that tyre last as long as possible that has worked better. Starting on the same tyre as those around you than it has been going to the opposite tyre. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe there'll be, with this later stage in the season, we'll see some safety cars due to mechanical issues, more likely to occur, of course, as these engines are getting to the end of their usage and all the other parts as well. So maybe we'll see some mechanical failures. That could help someone maybe trying the alternative strategy. But I think I'm leaning to more towards the fact that this will be a 2-stop. I think it's quite high deg here, and yeah, I think we'll see that. I think we'll see that 2-stop. So 1-stop seems too risky. I agree, Kelly. I agree. But someone will probably try and pull it off to hold on to track position. But I think we might see similar, not as bad as Vegas, but I think there is a similar drop off, like falling off of a cliff here, because of how windy it can get, because of how high loaded, how much load is put through the tyres through this circuit. You can't be sliding around, otherwise you're going to lose like literal seconds here at this circuit compared to others. So, had to watch another British live streamer yesterday, and what a complete mess. He didn't have a clue. Look, each to their own. Everyone else does other things. I appreciate you all for tuning in, as always. So, as I said, try and do things differently here, and I try and get across my technical knowledge as well, limited technical knowledge. Speaking about Max from P1 to P2, yeah, we spoke about it. So I'm not too, I don't know, I'm not so keen on the penalty, to be honest with you, from what I know about it. But I haven't done a deep dive. Keep up the great work. I may watch the race live, but it's so good to watch the data from your stream. Thank you, Miff. Much appreciated. Why does you say Leclerc Hamilton? Don't you mean Leclerc Sainz? Where's Sainz starting? That's the question. Sainz starting ahead of Hamilton, is he? Or is he one position behind? It's because Sainz is starting in P7, so I can only have 4 options for I can only have 4 options. So I meant Leclerc Hamilton because Hamilton's starting 6th and Sainz is starting 7th. So I have to group them together, you see. Hey, Spires, good to see you. Hoping Max schools Russell off the start and Oscar cruises by. Maybe. Will McLaren clinch the title this weekend? So I think McLaren need a 1-2 to secure, and fastest lap to secure the title this weekend. So as it currently stands with them in P3 and P4, that won't happen. But of course, they will extend their championship lead even further if they finish, of course, ahead of Ferrari as it currently stands, with Sainz starting P7 and Leclerc starting P5. But yeah, that's the strategy options for today, guys. I think we're leaning towards a 2-stop. We'll see if there's going to be a 1-stop. I think someone will try the 1-stop, but I don't think track position is as key here as other circuits. But I could be wrong. Could be wrong. Right, soft compound tyre. This is why we're not seeing the soft suggested here, because it's only a 15-lap performance life. We didn't even see that yesterday. I think that's even less than that. I think that data's quite way off. I think we saw Zhou Guanyu pit off of the soft compound tyre within 6 laps after they just fell off a cliff. So I think the soft compound tyre is not really, I would say maybe a lucky 10 laps. Lucky. 30 laps, yeah, maybe on the medium, 35 on the hard. I think the hard compound tyre is going to have, I think, if anything, that medium compound's probably got less tyre life than the hard compound. That seems very close between the medium and the hard compound, which is a bit interesting. But tyre allocation, so who has what? So this isn't the graph I like to use, or the graphic. I like to normally use the Pirelli one, but I don't have it for some reason this time around. So we seem to have here, Max Verstappen has at least one brand new set of each tyre. He has 2 brand new softs. Interestingly, so does Hamilton. He doesn't have one brand new set of softs. George Russell does not have a brand new set of mediums to use. That's interesting. He only has 2 sets of used. Leclerc also has 3 sets of used, and also has only 1 hard compound tyre to use. So if we have a look back at the strategy options, that means that if Leclerc's going to do a 2-stop, he's going to be doing this one here, which is the medium hard to medium. And he won't be able to do this one because he's only got 1 hard compound tyre available. So that means, how about Sainz? Sainz also has the same as well. So Ferrari have gone, they're at least committing to a different 2-stop strategy here compared to McLaren, Mercedes, and Red Bull. So we'll see how that plans out for them. That's gonna be interesting. I expect medium as around 20 to 25 and hard. Yeah, it seems. I would suspect that's more the case, Kelly. I expect that more the case. I had a family event to attend yesterday, Yuji. So yeah, I couldn't make qualifying. I made the sprint race, but you know, family comes first. There's a lot of races and a lot of sessions in an F1 season now. So unfortunately, I think we've done pretty well this year in making all the sessions and at least making every single race. I haven't missed a race yet. And I think that was actually my first qualifying. I could be wrong, but I think that's my first qualifying I've missed all year. So we haven't done too bad. So yeah. Thanks for the kind words though, mate. Glad you enjoyed the stream. So strategy. So in regards to safety car and so forth and pit lane, guys, green flag, 26.5 seconds. That is the gap you are looking for, interval-wise, between the drivers, as always, here today. So that's obviously a free pit stop distance if they've got a 26.5 second gap. VSC and safety car, 15.5 seconds. So that's an 11-second advantage there, pitting under the VSC. That is a massive, that is one of the biggest advantages I think we've seen all season if you're able to pit under a VSC or safety car. And well, we've been here for 2 years and we've had a safety car and a VSC in one of those races, a 50% chance. So we'll see if that's the case. I think it's more likely mechanical. I mean, will we see a safety car here? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to go for a safety car. We committed on this channel. Yes. Yeah, it was good. Thanks, Spice. Yeah, it was lovely. Yeah, it was really good. Got the little one out, so it was nice for us to both get out. It's the first time we've been out as new parents and both been able to have a little drink at the same time. So yeah, that was nice. What happened to Esteban? Why is he so slow compared to Pierre? Pierre Gasly, of course, is... I think it's a similar situation to Lewis and Esteban. I think it's a similar situation to Mercedes, where Esteban Ocon is on his way out of... he's on his way out to Haas, so he's leaving that team. Gasly is staying, and Gasly is getting all the new upgrades on the car, and he is getting preferential treatment. And I think that's shown in Gasly's driving, is that he has been a standout performer since he's come back from the summer break. Arguably the standout performer when you look at his performances. And yeah, Esteban has not been getting those upgrades first. He's not been getting that preferential treatment. He's being shunned out of technical meetings and development meetings and so forth. And it makes it harder to set up the car, and it's harder mentally as well. He's probably checked out and looking forward to just being in that Haas next season. And I think that's similar to Lewis Hamilton's situation at Mercedes. And then let's have a look at race pace, guys. McLaren seem, from the data we've gathered, not me, the data F1 has gathered, is that McLaren are the fastest on the race pace. They kind of showed that in the sprint race, what we saw yesterday. We'll see how that is, though, from them starting further in the pack in dirty air. Ferrari are pretty much there or thereabouts with them, and Red Bull, in no doubt Max Verstappen's hands, not Sergio Perez, is not far behind. So very tight, only a tenth really separating them, it seems. And I think that's pretty much gathered from the sprint race and the FP1. So we've obviously with two qualifying sessions. That's where that data's pretty much been gathered from. So yeah, we'll see. Very close between Haas, Alpine, and well, RB seems to be considerably slower here. It's very tight between Alpine and Haas. Haas regained the 6th place in the constructors over Alpine, but of course McLaren and Ferrari. McLaren extended their championship lead yesterday in that sprint race, and well, they're looking to do so again today. Try and wrap it up. I think they need a 1-2 to wrap it up and a fastest lap. But yeah, they'll be taking a considerable advantage into the last race of the season, where even Ferrari, if McLaren don't finish ahead of Ferrari and they don't mathematically secure it, they're pretty much, Ferrari, it's kind of out of their own hands, even if they finish 1-2. I think that's what McLaren at least want to try and do. So yeah, that's the strategy options for today, guys. What if Toyota stayed in F1? They may come back to F1. They got a technical partnership with Haas, haven't they? So, interesting, even with the holding back in sprint. I was at a family event yesterday. That's why I wasn't doing qualifying. So, 2019 has returned. Top 3-4 being invincible from the midfield. Yeah, it does seem like there's two different kind of leagues in Formula at the moment, doesn't it? With the top 4 teams and then the others. Of course, a new set of regulations, 2026. That could change everything on its head, couldn't it? As always. So, Alpine seem to be making a step in the right direction with their development. You can see with some great performances from Pierre Gasly. But they don't really have the power unit. And with them changing to Mercedes, maybe we could see a resurgence in Alpine moving forward. So, Verstappen's going to win. Well, put your vote. Get your votes in. 39% think Verstappen, or 38% think Verstappen is going to win at the moment. Neck and neck between the two McLarens, and Leclerc and Hamilton, who are starting 5th and 6th. And George Russell, not a lot of faith in George Russell at the moment. F1.5, yeah. Everyone needs extra team with more drivers, more chaos, more fun. That does seem to be the case, though, as we have Caddy on the way, don't we? We have, GM Motors, pretty much Cadillac, are on the way. So, yeah, there's room for one more as well. There's room for one more. All right. Yes, King. So the update is that GM Motors, so basically Cadillac, who Andretti were going to be part of. So the bid initially was under the name Andretti Motorsport, Andretti F1. But what happened is that there was F1 and the people that are ahead at Liberty Media weren't too keen on Andretti. I think there's some personal grudges there, to be honest with you. And all that's happened is that Andretti has stepped down and allowed the name of the team to be renamed GM Motors, Cadillac. He stepped back and he's not the actual owner of the team. He's like director of the team. But other than that, everything is, the bid is basically as it was. And yeah, they've now allowed them in. So audio. What's wrong with the audio? Audio's okay, isn't it? Completely agree. They had some personal issues with Andretti. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Russell's very confident at the moment. You fancy him for the win, Foster? I'm intrigued to see Russell and Verstappen go side by side. That'll be intriguing. There's history between those two as well. There's plenty of needle between those two. So that'll be intriguing. Right, let's have a look. I think the live data is available, so I can set this up and we can get ready to rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. Where am I going for the race control messages? Have I got that up? There we go. Oh, bosh, we're ready to go. We're ready to go. Happy days. Right. Let's have a look. Hey, Bill. Went from okay to low, or your ears popped or something. Oh, it's because when I change scene, it goes low. That's why. Right, let's sort this out. So we've got that, like that. I need to try and make this a bit smaller. I only really need to know track temperature, don't we? There we go. I think that's okay. Is that alright, guys? Is that alright? Renault Powered Alpine, best sounding. Do I think Fernando Alonso is going to retire in 26? I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's got another. He's going to retire maybe after 26. He's got another year, isn't he? I think he's there till 2026. So we'll see. Oh, pit entry incident involving Piastri will be investigated after the race, guys. So I just saw on TV, Piastri overtook Lewis Hamilton on the pit lane entry, but around him, around the line. Oh no, Piastri, could he get a penalty already? Or applied after this race? Thoughts on the Senna docuseries? I haven't watched it yet. I saw it just come out on Netflix, so it's on my list of things to watch. I mean, I'm not overly fussed on watching it because I think the Senna documentary film that came out a few years ago was brilliant. And I don't think, I mean, if you've never seen anything to do with Senna, yeah, maybe it's worth watching. But I think the Senna documentary film is brilliant, and I think everyone should watch that. Really, that was really, really good. Senna show really good. I'll give it a watch though. Yeah, maybe I'll give it a watch. Homer doing well. Lots of cool races on the Nürburgring for you this week. Congrats on the surprise win in the last one. I might get some. Yeah, will I do a Nürburgring this week? Probably not. I'm liking the Nürburgring. Sorry, lots of cool races for me. I'm thinking of the Nordschleife. Yes, lots of cool races for me on the Nürburgring. Yeah, I'm loving it this week in Super Formula. Actually, yeah. You have the Senna film on Blu-ray. It's awesome. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if no one's ever watched the Senna film, go and watch it. I'm not sure if it's available still on Netflix. It may be. Obviously, you got a new docuseries out. It's like a dramatisation docuseries. And then you've got, it may be available on Amazon Prime. If not, try and find it somewhere online. It's really good. It's definitely worth a watch. Hey, Peter, yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. Doing well. Rush is also a class movie. Yeah, Rush is also very good. Yeah. I think Le Mans was okay with Christian Bale. Le Mans was alright. I don't think... Le Mans, the away from the racing, was really good. But when they got to the racetrack and you saw the racing scenes, I don't think they were that great. But the rest of the film is really good. So... You're updating the game on PS5, so you can watch the Grand Prix right now. Happy days, Ted. Happy days. It's been a while since the first lap safety car. Maybe. I mean, look, anything's possible with Russell and Verstappen starting up front. Max did get a poor getaway. Also, remember, guys, in the sprint race, so he needs maybe that'll be playing on his mind. I doubt it though. But I mean, that's the first poor getaway that really Max has had all season in the sprint race. So. Ford versus Ferrari, that's it. Was it Ford versus Ferrari? It was Ford versus Ferrari. Sorry, I thought it was Le Mans. Thank you, Pinpoint. You're 60 in March and still got pace, Lewis. That's the beauty of sim racing. The beauty of sim racing, Pinpoint, is that anyone of any age can get involved. As long as you can reach the pedals. What if Hamilton didn't spin in USA Austin this year? What if he didn't spin? Oh, what, in regards to his pole position? Maybe. Yeah, I think he was on for pole, to be honest. Yeah. Actually, now you remember. Now I remember it. Yeah, maybe. What are my thoughts on Lewis Hamilton? That's a very open-ended question, Shabba. It's a very open-ended question. I need to be a bit more specific. Understandably, as you can see with the poster and the helmet, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. This is multi-viewer, Banana. Multi-viewer. Pretty sure it was one of those movies with different titles in different countries. Ah, okay, fair enough. No, I think you're right, actually. I think it was Ford versus Ferrari. I think there is another film that's called Le Mans. So, do I think the F1 movie would be as good as Rush? I think... So, the F1 movie, for me, I think it will be the best adaptation of racing seen on film. I really do. I think what it might... The acting, though, I don't know. What I am positive about is that it's the same director. It's Jerry Bruckheimer. So he is, I think it's Jerry Bruckheimer. He is the guy. What am I looking for here, by the way? I am looking for... I'm looking for track limits tracker because I think there's going to be some track limit violations here today. What I'm looking forward to is it's Jerry Bruckheimer who is directing it, and he directed Top Gun Maverick, and he's using the same filming technique of filming the planes that he is in F1 for the cars. So while they look pretty slow, obviously we've seen the outside shots on Twitter and so forth. The shots that you see in the trailer, when you actually look at the racing shots, they look really good, and I think they're really going to capture that well. So he is a great director who has a track record of kind of like making these action films, and I think I'm positive for that. So, do I think Madison will take anyone out in the first few laps? Well, he's starting P10 actually. Wow, I didn't see. Yes, actually, sorry. Let's have a rundown of the grid because I didn't really, as I said, I only caught the end of Q3 yesterday. So George Russell P1, Verstappen has been demoted to P2. So we've got Norris in P3, Piastri in P4, Leclerc P5, Hamilton P6, Sainz 7th. Alonso made it into Q3 into P8. I completely missed that. As did Sergio Perez. Well done, Sergio Perez. He actually made it into Q3 for once, but he's still in P9. Kevin Magnussen in P10. Good from him. Pierre Gasly just missing out on Q3 in P11. Wow, what happened to the two Stake F1 cars? Where have they come from? 12th and 13th. Wow, unbelievable. Sonoda in 14th, Stroll 15th, Albon 16th, Lawson 17th. Not good qualifying from Lawson. Hulkenberg, what happened to Hulkenberg? Colapinto's not having a good weekend either, is he? Down in 19th, and Ocon in 20th. So, interesting. Stake is doing pretty good right now. I know, right? They're ending the season quite well. Sauber brought upgrades. Did they really? I feel like the movie will be good, but it won't top Rush at all, as the drama and acting in Rush was a very good adaptation. Yes. I mean, the difference with Rush is that Rush is based upon the real story of James Hunt and Niki Lauda. Of course, it probably takes liberties in this, what's truth and what isn't, of course, for the sake of drama. But F1 movie is going to be a completely brand new story. So... yeah, and apparently Lewis Hamilton is a producer on the movie, so he is consulting in regards to the racing in particular of what is real and what isn't, which I'm glad, because the thing that bugs me in a lot of films is when they're going for a certain corner in 4th gear or 5th gear, and then you're hearing them hit the rev limiter and shift, and then on screen they don't actually shift. All right. Bugs the hell out of me. So yeah, he's there to kind of ensure that there's realism to the movie. So yeah, hopefully that translates to screen. Let's be honest, penalty was Max was so unnecessary. Yeah, I mean we've discussed that. Not entirely sure about the penalty, but look, he's still starting on the front row, and Max is good enough to get past George down into turn 1. How about the Gran Turismo movie? I haven't seen it yet, Jacob. I haven't seen it. I've heard questionable things about the movie. So we'll see. McLaren to win a Constructors' Championship. Or, well, maybe. Yeah, it's definitely going to go... Well, I say definitely. McLaren can win the Constructors' Championship today, guys. They need a 1-2 and a fastest lap point. If they do that, they will win the championship. If they don't, then the championship goes to the last race of the season. Of course, they're in the driving seat at the moment with Norris in P3 and Piastri in P4. Charles Leclerc and Sainz in 5th and 7th. But look, things can change. It's a long race today, 57 laps at this circuit. We've got potentially a 2-stop on our hands. The sprint race, we saw the drivers. What we saw in particular was that the DRS is a set. What we saw in particular, really, is that tyres are going to be very important here because you're going to need the grip. So I think we're erring on the side of a 2-stop. I don't think it's going to be a 1-stop. Also, we saw how powerful the DRS is. The clean air is king in regards to having... in regards to like looking after your tyres better, but it doesn't mean that you cannot be overtaken. Because the run through turn 16 down to turn 1, we saw that Lando Norris in particular was getting, even when he wasn't lifting off the throttle for Piastri, we saw drivers who lost to DRS to the car in front get swallowed up down into turn 1 by the car behind who had DRS. So that's going to be intriguing here today. So overtaking is possible. The main overtaking opportunity is, of course, from turn 16 to turn 1, where there is that single DRS marker, or DRS zone. So yes, that's where drivers no doubt will be looking to set up their overtakes, but it doesn't mean that you cannot be overtaken down into turn 2 or down into turn 4, down into turn 6. There are quite a few areas that you can see at the remainder of the first sector where overtaking can occur. Not so much really down through the second or third sector because they're quite fast and there's not really a lot of hard braking zones. So yeah, it's mainly down into turn 1 and the first sector is where a lot of the overtaking happens. So have I set up for Christmas yet? Yeah, we're ready for Christmas. Is there anything in the technical and sporting rules you could change for 2025? What would they be? I don't think sporting rules, of course, I'd love to see the racing rules be just clarified that you're not able to force another driver off the racing circuit. How good was it yesterday? Did everyone go and watch the clip of Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc go side by side for the first sector? Unbelievable, hard, but fair and respectful racing. That's what we want to see as racing fans. We don't want to see the shoving off ahead of the apex, running the other driver out of racing surface. That's what we don't want. Technical-wise, I'm not very well versed in that. So I think we've got close racing at the moment. As long as we've got multiple teams and drivers going into each race weekend with the opportunity of a race win, that would be unbelievable. So, is Liverpool on? Yeah, Liverpool's starting soon. But we don't care about Liverpool and Man City. We care about the Qatar Grand Prix, which is just over 3 minutes underway. Get your votes in, guys. Over 1,200 votes at the moment of who's going to win the Qatar Grand Prix. 39% think Verstappen, who is starting second. Of course, he's been demoted down into P2 after a very questionable penalty, one-place grid penalty. George Russell, not a lot of you have faith in him. He's 19% of the vote. Norris and Piastri, not much faith in the McLarens either. A lot more of you have faith in Leclerc and Hamilton, who are starting behind them. So, interesting. But yes, guys, just I see a couple of comments about obviously why I wasn't here for qualifying yesterday. I was at a family event, so it's a very long season now these days, of course, and we've done very well this season in regards to attending every single, or doing a watch along for every single race. I think that's the first qualifying I've missed all year. I even did a watch along from my hotel room on holiday. That's how committed to this I've been to you guys. And we are only one more race away from this 24 race season being finished. And there we go. Tyre blankets are off, guys, with just 2.5 minutes remaining. And, well, everyone's starting on the medium compound tyre except for Nico Hülkenberg. Nico Hülkenberg starting on the hard compound tyre. We'll keep an eye out on him and see how he goes. Of course, going for that overcut to see if he can maybe get a cheap pit stop under a virtual safety car or a safety car. We will see. But the medium compound tyre does leave you open for that differing two-stop strategy, which is the hard compound tyre. Another hard, or you go hard to medium. Or it could be a one-stop. We don't know. So we'll see. But yeah, Nico Hulkenberg could be quick come the end of this race on the medium, on a lighter fuel load. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye out on his progression for sure. Hey, Troy, I'm good, thank you. But yeah, the family event that I was at yesterday went very well. And yeah, it was really gutting to miss qualifying. And I caught the end of qualifying, the last session. And it made me realise how much I love doing these watch-alongs for you all. And how much I missed the data. While I'm doing the commentary, of course, I'm also experiencing F1 with you guys. I'm watching it with you as well and enjoying it. And hopefully you hear my excitement through my commentary as these races go on. And I didn't really experience that yesterday. I didn't really experience it in just watching it on TV. So yeah, didn't feel the same. Didn't hit the same mark that it does when I'm commentating and doing these watch-alongs with you all. Fulham got a draw. Wow, good result for them, especially away. You missed me stuff. Thank you guys. Over 2,000 of you here in the stream already. We are just a minute away from this race getting underway. Oh, a donation. Where's that come from? Have I missed it? Where's that? Hoggy tipped $10. Why has that not come up on my alerts? Hoggy, thank you very much. I don't know why it's not popped up on my... oh, maybe it's because it's not a super chat. Maybe it's an actual donation. So thank you, buddy. Much appreciated, Hoggy, for the $10. Thank you. But 20 seconds until this race gets... Oh, formation lap gets underway, guys. If you could hit that like button, as always. Let's get this stream to 1,000 likes. It'd be much appreciated. And, of course, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Can we get 35,000... Can we hit 34,000 subs by the end of this stream? Surely we can do that. But yes, here comes some money. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, Hoggy. Much appreciated. And everyone who's tuning in already as formation is about to get underway. And there we go. Formation lap is underway. George Russell is on pole position. So he has technically one brand new set of mediums available, which is that 1 lap old set of mediums. But yes, let's see what that run down to turn 1 is going to be like. Of course, Lewis Hamilton made contact with George Russell down into turn 1 last year, didn't he? So yeah, will we see that again this year from another driver further up? How will Sergio Perez get on? First time he's been in Q3 for a while, starting in P9. Of course, trying to have a good performance after yesterday, after the slow getaway from the pit lane, which Christian Horner wasn't too best pleased about, for sure. Did Max really get -1 point? He got a penalty point, I believe. He got a penalty point on his licence for it, which is a bit ridiculous. So, stuff between Leclerc, wicked cool, yeah. Why is George pole? Because Max Verstappen got a very questionable penalty for impeding George Russell, who was on a slow lap himself in qualifying yesterday. So he's been given the first ever, and correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, but I think he's been given the first ever one grid place penalty in F1 history. So yeah, I don't think that's ever been the case. It's always been 3 or 5 or 10. So yeah, but there we go. Right, so I'm going to end the poll. 1,500 votes pretty much, and well, the majority of you think Max Verstappen is going to win this Qatar Grand Prix. 38% of you, with 21% think Leclerc or Hamilton, 19% think Russell, Norris or Piastri. Thank you for joining the pit crew as well, Fratterson. Much appreciated. Welcome. The race is about to get underway, so let's run through your Qatar Grand Prix grid. George Russell is in P1. Starting alongside him is Max Verstappen, who got demoted, as we just mentioned, from a very questionable penalty for impeding George Russell himself in qualifying yesterday. Lando Norris is in P3, and Piastri and all McLaren second row, of course, starting ahead of the Ferraris. Their aim is, of course, to win, but it is to win the Constructors. Charles Leclerc is in P5 with Lewis Hamilton alongside him. Carlos Sainz in 7th with Fernando Alonso making it into Q3 with that Aston Martin. Does that Aston Martin have the race pace to stay up there? We will see. Sergio Perez, it's a rare occurrence, but we see him in the Red Bull in the Q3, which is crazy to say, but he is in P9. Kevin Magnussen, a good qualifying from him, being the fastest horse for the first time in some while in P10. Pierre Gasly in P11. There's 2 Stake F1 cars making it through to Q2 in P12 and P13. Can they finally get that elusive point? The only team to not score a point this season. We will see. Yuki Tsunoda in P14, Stroll in 15th, Albon 16th, a poor qualifying from Liam Lawson in 17th, and the same for Nico Hulkenberg, the only driver starting on the hard compound tyre, down in 18th. Colapinto, a poor weekend for him thus far, just seems to be off the pace compared to his teammate and the rest of the field in P19, and Esteban Ocon in P20. So here we are, guys. Esteban Ocon pulling up the rear, and we will not be long here. Few seconds until this race gets underway. Who's going to lead down into turn 1? Are we going to see some carnage? It is moments away. Here we go. Hit that like and subscribe button. 57 laps of the Qatar Grand Prix is underway. Green light, away we go. And George Russell leads down into the first corner. But will he lead ahead of Max Verstappen as the data is just a little bit off there? And Max Verstappen, I think, has got ahead of George Russell as they're side by side down into the first corner. And actually, I think there's a yellow flag as there's multiple cars come together down into turn 1. Colapinto, Hulkenberg, and Esteban Ocon, I think, have come together at turn 1. And it's Max Verstappen and Lando Norris side by side into turn 4. Norris did actually get into turn 1 ahead of George Russell, and you can see Alonso Lewis lost a few positions there, as has Lewis Hamilton. He's back up into P9 as he was down 4 places. Zhou is down 4 places, but Ocon and Colapinto are out of this race. It seems as there's still, it's not a safety car here. I'm watching the replay of this race as it's Max Verstappen leading from Lando Norris and from George Russell. And well, let's have a look at the start of this race here, and as I'm watching it down into turn 1, we can see that Lando swept around the inside of Max Verstappen and George Russell, and who made contact down into the last corner? Into the first corner, and it's definitely Ocon and Colapinto. Both went off there. Don't know exactly what has happened. They went straight off. It seemed to be quite amicable between the two of them, and I think it's just a coming together similar to Lewis Hamilton and George Russell last year, wheel on wheel, and I think they've both broken their suspensions. And a first lap safety car, one of you predicted it before this race, and we have a first lap safety car, and we have lost Ocon and Colapinto, both started on the back row, and well, their races have come to a very quick end. Wow. Can we get a welfare check on Williams mechanics? This can't be real. Yes, I'm waiting to see the actual replay of the damage, but I don't think it's overly severe. I think it's just suspension damage. I think it's a collection of the two, like wheel on wheel, and their cars seem to be okay. Like, there's not a lot of debris. There's a bit of debris, actually. There does seem to be a bit of debris off the racing circuit. I'm waiting to see the replay on the onboard to see exactly what has happened. Was it even Ocon as Nico Hulkenberg's got a puncher? He's coming into the pits. Lance Stroll coming into the pits as well. So Nico Hulkenberg got caught up in that, as we saw. He's been able to get going again, but he will have to pit. But let's see what happened there. Was Nico Hulkenberg the cause of the accident, or was it Lance Stroll? Was it someone else entirely? And Ocon and Colapinto were the just innocent parties in this. We will see. There was lots of moving about, but Lando Norris made an unbelievable start, ladies and gentlemen. He made his best start probably of the season. He got alongside George Russell. Max was covering off George Russell as he got ahead of George. George made a poor getaway, and well, Lando took the opportunity to go up the inside of both of them into turn 1, and they were side by side through turn 2. So I'm watching the race start here to see exactly what has happened. So George Russell made a poor getaway, and Max got alongside George Russell and Lando as they ran wide. George and Max ran wide. Lando went, thank you very much, up the inside, and then Max defended down into turn 2. But let's see the race start from the back and see exactly what happened. as it is still a safety car. We'll run through the grid shortly to see exactly where everyone is. And Colapinto is the innocent party. Colapinto could not be further off the racing surface when he gets made contact into. He has left so much room on the inside, and it's Nico Hulkenberg who's gone into the side of Esteban Ocon, and Ocon is flown straight into Colapinto. He's trying his best to avoid him, and it's just a... So Hulkenberg loses the rear of the car on the entry to turn 1, hits his rear of his car, slams into the front of Esteban Ocon. Oh, and it's just a mistake from Nico Hulkenberg, and Hulkenberg has inadvertently taken out 2 cars in this race, and but Nico Hulkenberg is still in this race. So Nico Hulkenberg has, in effect, murdered 2 cars from this race, and, well, Lance Stroll... What has Lance Stroll done? Lance Stroll smashed into the back of Alex Albon in all of this. Oh, has Stroll done a Strollism? Oh my God, Stroll, what are you doing? What are you doing, Stroll? What are you doing? What are you doing? No, Alex Albon did not cut in a Stroll. Stroll was understeered straight into Alex Albon. Oh God! All right, right. Jenson Button is really trying to defend Lance Stroll there, and I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, let's have a. I'll have to see it back, but I'm pretty sure it's Stroll. I'm pretty sure it's on Stroll. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's on Stroll. Like, he's just understeered straight into Alex Albon. Like, if there's a car on your outside, try and keep it as tight to the apex as possible. But anywho, safety car, 3rd lap. Let's have a rundown of this grid, guys. Max Verstappen, P1. He is ahead of George Russell and Lando Norris. He is Lando in P2. So we have Max versus Lando again. Of course, no championship on the line this time around. George Russell in P3, Charles Leclerc in P4, Piastri is in P5, Sainz in P6, Perez in P7, Alonso P8, Lewis Hamilton is down into P9. I'm not sure what happened with Lewis Hamilton in all of that. I need to see his onboard. No doubt they'll show a replay of what happened to Lewis Hamilton at the start of this race. I don't know if it was just a poor getaway or if it was something else entirely. Yuki Tsunoda, a brilliant start from him. He's up 4 positions into P10. Kevin Magnussen into P11. Down a position there, as is Pierre Gasly in P12. Bottas is where he is in P13. Lawson, a good start from him up into P14. He avoided that carnage of Albon and Stroll and gained positions there into P14. Zhou Guanyu had to take avoiding action of Albon and Stroll in that incident there after a poor getaway from him. And that's why he's down in 15th. Albon in 16th. He does have damage to his car, Albon. So we'll see whether or not how much of a performance sapping damage that is for him by Lance Stroll, who is pitted and is right behind him on the hard compound tyre in P17. Nico Hulkenberg, who basically just destroyed both Colapinto and Esteban Ocon there because of his mistake. Unintentional, of course, just a snap of oversteer from him. But Esteban Ocon, who kind of pulled up alongside him on the outside, got tagged and then sent into Colapinto. So both Ocon and Colapinto innocent parties there. And Hulkenberg is free to continue this race in P18. But safety car is in this lap, guys. Let's see what is going to happen on this race restart. We will still have another lap until DRS is activated. Can Max Verstappen pull away from the pacey Lando Norris? He's been quick here all weekend, Lando. Other than the qualifying yesterday. But why is there we go, one there. So turn 4 incident, Stroll and Albon is being investigated for causing a collision. But safety car is in this lap, guys. Safety car is in this lap. So Max Verstappen backing up the pack here. Of course, it's a very quick lap here at Qatar. One more lap until we get DRS, and it's going to be important to try and pull away from the car behind you. Sorry, from the car behind you when that DRS is activated. So this first lap is going to be super, super important. So here we go. Max Verstappen backing up. When is he going to go? Is he going to go through turn 15? I think he's going to go on the exit of turn 15, surely. Or is he going to wait till turn 16? When is he going to go? And there we go. He goes. He just waited a little bit after the corner of turn 15. And Max has gone. And, well, it's Max Verstappen leading from Lando Norris with George Russell down into P3. Who is going to lead down into the first corner, though? Why is my Norton antivirus popping up there? Go away. Apologies, guys. Worst time for it to happen on this race restart. George Russell looks to get past Lando Norris as Oscar Piastri going side by side with Charles Leclerc there, and Lance Stroll has lost the position to Nico Hülkenberg as he heads down into the first turn 1. And there's another driver off. Liam Lawson is off. Liam Lawson and Valtteri Bottas are off. It seems there's been contact between the RB driver and Valtteri Bottas. I'm not entirely sure what's happened there, but Liam Lawson, who was up 3 positions, has now come back down to P18. They're both back underway, but Bottas has lost a position there to Liam. Lost a position. I wonder if that was just wheel-on-wheel contact and Lawson has been sent into a spin. We will see, but drama here in the early stages of this race. It's only a second full lap of racing. Actually, we haven't even had a full lap of racing yet. As turn 1 incident, no further investigation between Nico Hülkenberg. So I'm watching the replay here of Liam Lawson and Valtteri Bottas as Lawson went up the inside of Valtteri Bottas as they went down into turn 1, and Lawson just spun the car as he went side by side with Valtteri Bottas, and Bottas had to take avoiding action of Liam Lawson. Alonso's regained a position on... Alonso and Magnussen changing positions there through turn 15. And Alonso now under attack from Pierre Gasly. Yuki Tsunoda up 5 positions at the moment. A great start from him as it currently stands in P9. Lewis Hamilton regained a position also there and is now up into P8. Sergio Perez just slightly ahead of him. But you can see there, DRS is now enabled this lap as Lando Norris 1 second back from Max Verstappen. Will he be able to put a charge on with... a charge on Max Verstappen in the early stages of this race, or will he already go into tyre saving mode? We will see. George Russell 1.2 seconds back from Lando Norris, and Piastri, who you think is in the quicker McLaren here, will be thinking about trying to make quick work of the Mercedes of George Russell. Liam Lawson back on the behind of Lance Stroll now, who was on the hard compound tyre. Nico Hülkenberg up 2 positions into P16 after taking out inadvertently Esteban Ocon and Colapinto, where he is no penalty given to him, as it was just one of those incidents down into turn 1. There was no maliciousness in it at all, just getting a snap of oversteer in the dirty air of the many cars in front of him at the race start. But it is Max Verstappen leading 1.3 seconds back from George Russell as turn 1 incident. Bottas and Lawson has been noted causing a collision. As I'm just watching the replay now of what happened. No, that's the replay of something else entirely there. As Carlos Sainz has dropped back a little bit. No, just a track map delay there as Carlos Sainz is behind his teammate Charles Leclerc. He's 2 seconds back of Oscar Piastri already. And you can see a fastest last sector there for Lando Norris compared to Max Verstappen. But a 26.6 for Lando Norris, 1/10 slower than Max Verstappen last time around. As these drivers are struggling with the oversteer down into turn 1, that is where Liam Lawson lost control of the car, and Valtteri Bottas just had to get out and take avoiding action away from him. As Alonso is reporting, the speed on the straight is worrying in the Aston Martin as he is down 4 positions at the moment into P12. So it is Max Verstappen leading from Lando Norris. Russell 1.3 seconds back. Piastri 0.9 seconds back now from George Russell in P4. And you can see Charles Leclerc there 1.5 seconds back with his teammate close behind him. Perez 1 second back further from him, as is Lewis Hamilton. So have we already seen these drivers drop back into a window with 7 laps completed, a number of them completed under the safety car? Are we seeing drivers just fall back into a window where they're not being affected by the dirty air? This is kind of a tactic we have seen used and utilised by the McLaren team, particularly in Lando Norris in the first stint of a race throughout the duration of this season, and of course most notably used against Max Verstappen. But it does seem that Norris has the pace on Max in the last sector. He noticeably catches up in the last sector compared to Max, as you can see. A 25.1, he's 2 tenths quicker than Max in the last sector, but a little bit off in the first and second sector. But is that just tyre saving? We will see. And there's a 10-second time penalty for Lance Stroll, causing a collision. That is my assumption. An assessment absolutely vindicated there, but that was Lance Stroll's fault on his collision with Alex Albon. Stroll doing a Strollism. Anywho, back to the race. It's always great to be vindicated, guys. Max Verstappen leading 1.6, 1.7 seconds from Lando Norris now. He just gained 4 tenths on Lando in the first sector. George Russell is now in the DRS of Lando here. So a bit of a poor first sector from Lando Norris as he's 2 seconds back from Max Verstappen. So the question is Max taking too much life out of his tyres in the clean air out up front, or is this, as I said before, is this a tactic as we've seen deployed by McLaren through the duration of this season? Lewis Hamilton in the DRS of Sergio Perez now, so we'll keep an eye on that battle as they head through the last sector. Lewis Hamilton, who's down 2 positions, he started in P6 but had a poor start to this race. Still not entirely sure what happened on his race start for him to lose so many positions at the start, but does seem like he's getting a bit of a move on now. Green in the first and second sector compared to Perez's yellow first and second sector. And let's see, with DRS open, will Lewis Hamilton be able to close the gap here on the Red Bull Sergio Perez? This will be as an incident with car 14. Alonso noted for rejoining unsafely into turn 14. But Lewis Hamilton, DRS open, is not gains about 3 tenths there, 2.5 tenths on Sergio Perez, who even at 1.5 seconds back will be getting the slipstream from Carlos Sainz in front of him. So, yes, Lewis Hamilton needs to be a lot closer to the rear wing of that Red Bull out of turn 16 to have an opportunity to go side by side into turn 1. And, well, I'll tell you what, he's all over the back of Sergio Perez right now through that first sector, 6 tenths back, and he hasn't fallen back from Sergio Perez through that first sector at all. So Lewis really wanting to dispatch here, as Lewis Hamilton has been noted for a false start. So that is why Lewis Hamilton, no doubt, lost so many positions at the start of this race. And, well, if he's been noted for a false start, that is normally a slam dunk 5-second time penalty for Lewis Hamilton. So we'll wait to see if that comes through. I'm yet to see exactly what happened there with his race start. Maybe he just had a slow getaway because he knew he had a false start. As Lance Stroll is coming into the pits, and is this for him to serve his 10-second time penalty? We will see. As I'm watching a replay of Lando Norris through the first sector as he's getting a bit of understeer through the dirty air of Max Verstappen's car, just slightly running wide through turn 4. But it is Max Verstappen leading 1.7 seconds ahead of Lando Norris. George Russell in P3, a further 1 second back. Piastri in P4, trying to make the move on George Russell and put the pressure on the Mercedes driver, as is Lewis Hamilton on Sergio Perez, and he's a lot closer this time around than he was through turn 1, as Magnussen is going side by side with Yuki Tsunoda. He's trying to gain a position on Yuki. We've seen car contact through turn 1 before, and they're still side by side as they're heading through to turn 3, and Magnussen stays ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, and Yuki loses a position there. He's still up 4 positions into P10, but that is Magnussen up into P9, and that is important for Haas increasing their championship lead by a measly couple of points at the moment over the RB car of Yuki Tsunoda, as they are just currently 1 point ahead of Alpine in the constructors' standings. Where are the DRS zones? There is one DRS, guys, down through turn 16 to turn 1. The start-finish straight is the only DRS zone that we have here at the moment. So, Lance Stroll has retired from this race. Lance Stroll has retired from this race. He's called it quits. He's called it quits. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, Oscar Piastri is on the back of George Russell this time around. George Russell has fallen quite a bit back from Lando Norris. Will Piastri have enough? Of course, we saw George Russell rolls reverse yesterday in the sprint race, trying to overtake Oscar Piastri, which he failed to do. And, well, Piastri not close enough just yet to get past him. The 2 Ferrari drivers are working together at the first stage of this race, and we're interested to see what strategy options are going to be played out here. Lando Norris, a fastest lap for him, only by 1,000th of a second last time out, and I'm watching the replay of Kevin Magnussen and Yuki Tsunoda. Once again, Brilliant racing between the two of them, side by side through turn 1 and turn 2. That's what we like to see. Some great racing here this week thus far. And there's a 10-second time penalty for Liam Lawson, causing a collision down into turn 1 on Valtteri Bottas. I'm still yet to see the full replay of exactly what happened. I saw that he had a snap of oversteer, but yes, Liam Lawson causing a collision down into turn 1 has also been given a 10-second time penalty. So we've seen 3 penalties dished out thus far already in this race. Will we see another one in Lewis Hamilton with that full start? No doubt. It is normally just a slam dunk, but we will see. Max Verstappen leading 1.8 seconds. Purple middle sector from him. He's really quick in that middle sector, Max Verstappen, but Lando does gain the time back on him through the last sector we have seen previously. Will that be the case this time around as well? And yes, it is. Even though it was a slower last sector last time around for Norris, it is still quicker than Max Verstappen, but Max does set a purple lap there of a 25.8. As Gasly is reporting, Tsunoda is moving too late in the braking zone. He's not happy with the defence of Yuki Tsunoda, who's currently occupying that last points position. And there's a train there forming behind Kevin Magnussen, Yuki Tsunoda, Gasly, Alonso. Will Yuki go for the move down into turn 1 on Magnussen? No, he's just a little bit too far back. And on he's trying to desperately get past Magnussen, but he might be moving under braking at the same time in his defence against Pierre Gasly. And Alonso up there into P12 as well. He's down 4 positions. And the 2 Stake F1 cars are in this fight, guys, for their first point of the season. Go on, Stake F1. Go on, Stake F1. As Gasly's still moaning about Yuki Tsunoda on the radio. He's having to slam on the brakes to avoid Yuki. So Yuki, in his attack on Kevin Magnussen, may be forgetting about his a reasonable defence at the same time. But Lewis Hamilton now, on the back of Perez, he's the only driver in the top 7, in the top 8 that is in the DRS of the other driver. Even the 2 Ferrari drivers are not, well, they just are now, are in the DRS. So can Lewis Hamilton put the pressure on Sergio Perez, and can he get past the Red Bull driver? It's all about the exit out of turn 16, as there is an incident, turn 1 incident involving Tsunoda and Magnussen noted. Maybe that'll be Tsunoda forcing Magnussen off the racing surface, we'll see. But Lewis Hamilton just loses a bit of grip out of the last corner on Sergio Perez, with Perez having that clean air in front of him, 3.1 seconds back from Sainz. So while he's not getting the slipstream, he will be in cleaner air and be able to have the car more balanced out of the last corner than that of Lewis Hamilton in the dirty air. But Norris slightly faster than Verstappen last time around. He's staying within that 2-second window as Gasly finally gets past Yuki Tsunoda up into turn 2, and Gasly gets past Yuki Tsunoda finally, and is now chasing down Magnussen, the driver. The team are very, very close, only 1 point separating them in the constructors' standings at the moment, as Lewis Hamilton has been noted again for the false start under investigation. So I think if he has done that, that is normally a slam dunk 5-second time penalty, guys. Matt's not driving the fastest car, but still leading the race. Yes. What happened to Colapinto? If you're just joining us, yes, Ocon Colapinto inadvertently got tagged by Nico Hulkenberg, making a mistake into the first corner, and they were both the innocent parties. They were taken out into turn 1. We had a very early safety car, and Lance Stroll crashed into Alex Albon, and Alex Albon is continuing, but Lance Stroll got a 10-second time penalty, and no doubt, due to some damage on the car, has now retired from this race early on. But Lewis Hamilton is a bit closer this time around to Sergio Perez than the last lap, but can he get the traction out the last corner? And he still loses a 10th or so out the last corner, and I think he really needs to be about half a second behind to really have an opportunity down into turn 1. Is he going to go for a late move, Lewis Hamilton? We'll see. No, not at the moment. So still not close enough. All aboard the Tsunoda train at the moment. Tsunoda is really falling down the pack at the moment, as it seems Alonso's going to go for a move on the Japanese driver into turn 1. And will Yuki Tsunoda lose another position? And I think that's 3 positions in the space of just a few laps. And yes, confirmation there of a 5-second time penalty for a false start for Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton has a 5-second time penalty for a false start. As I predicted, normally when that's investigated, it's pretty much a slam dunk, as we have seen it be dished out to a number of drivers throughout the duration of this season. Still to see the replay of exactly what happened with his false start. Was it a release of the clutch too early, or was it the case he was parked too far ahead of his grid box, similar to Oscar Piastri last weekend or the weekend before? No further investigation of Alonso being rejoining the track unsafely. So we're only 14 laps into this race, about to start the 15th, and the stewards have already been very, very busy at the start of this Qatar Grand Prix. But it is Verstappen leading from Lando Norris. Lando staying within that 2-second window of Verstappen, lapping within a tenth of each other as it stands. George Russell 2.5 seconds back from Lando after losing the lead from pole position down into turn 1. Of course, Max Verstappen rightfully thinks he deserves that place in P1 right now, and I think most of us can probably agree with a very dubious and controversial penalty that was dished out to him yesterday in qualifying for him being demoted down into P2. But Oscar Piastri trying to put the pressure on now on George Russell, it seems, as Tsunoda loses another position to Zhou Guanyu. Zhou Guanyu is only 2 positions back from getting his first point in the season, and Valtteri Bottas no doubt will dispatch Yuki Tsunoda soon too. So the Stake F1 cars, the green tractors, are on the move, guys. We'll keep an eye out on their progression throughout the duration of this race. We can see Vert, Leclerc and Sainz are just managing this race. The 2 Ferraris, they're 8.5 seconds back to Max Verstappen at the moment, but really their battle is with the 2 McLarens for the Constructors' title. Of course, they at least want to get 1 car ahead of the McLarens. We will see. For the too many repeats, Taco is doing a good job of managing the trap, so it is what it is. Charles Leclerc, so yes, where was I? Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, P6. Sergio Perez is in P7, 4 seconds back now of Carlos Sainz. And Lewis Hamilton has just fallen out of DRS of Sergio Perez. He'll have it this time around. But we're starting to see really drivers' tyres start to fall off a bit as Lando Norris, a purple lap for him last time around. So has he sat back long enough in that window in cleaner air, looking after his tyres to maybe go on a late attack of Max Verstappen at the end of this first stint? Because you look at the likes of someone like Yuki Tsunoda, who clearly has gone very hard earlier on in this race and is now falling back. He was up 5 positions at the start of this race and he's now about to lose a position to Valtteri Bottas and start where he is. So let's see if Valtteri Bottas could get past him. No, he can't. So Tsunoda just holds on down into turn 1, and Bottas on the attack of Yuki Tsunoda. It's nice to see the Stake F1 cars get racy in a race for once this season. We can see Albon is up there in P15. Nico Hulkenberg, of course, who inadvertently took 2 cars out in this race at the start of lap 1, is in P16 as Liam Lawson, with a 10-second time penalty to take for causing a collision with Valtteri Bottas, is now down into 17th. But let's keep an eye on Lando Norris's and Max Verstappen's time this time around. Is Lando now starting to take a bit of time out of Verstappen? He is. Only a 10th, but it's enough. It's chipping away at that gap that Max Verstappen has built for himself as we're approaching, no doubt, the first pit stop of this race. It is no doubt going to be a 2-stop. I think so. I don't predict really this is going to make a 1-stop. It's going to be too much life taken out of these tyres at this very high loaded circuit for it to be a 1-stop. But we'll keep an eye on that interval of Max and Lando at the moment. Of course, George Russell not out of this race either, but he is lapping consistently 4 tenths slower than the leaders. Oscar Piastri has just fallen back to a 1.5 second window behind George Russell to look after his tyres, but he needs to be careful because otherwise Charles Leclerc will be seeing that, as we have a track limits violation of Oscar Piastri as well through turn 16. So drivers starting to struggle a little bit out there and pick up some off tracks as we're seeing the dirty air come into effect, as Gasly is now in the DRS of Kevin Magnussen. So Gasly looking to try and force the issue on K-Mag, but they're lapping pretty consistently within each other at the moment. Alonso wanting to get in on the act as well, as he's lapping around the same. So it could be a battle for the last points finishing positions there between Magnussen, Gasly and Alonso, but a long way to go in this race still. 41 laps remaining, or 40 laps remaining, as the lap time this time around for Lando Norris is once again another fastest lap, a 25.3. It's still only a 10th quicker than Max Verstappen, but that gap that a few laps ago was at 1.9 is now down to 1.5. So Lando coming on strong at the end of this stint and starting to take more out of his tyres as we're approaching the end of the first stint here on this medium compound tyre. Guys, please be respectful in the chat. If not, you will be timed out. We have a number of mods here, and they will be managing. We want to make this... It's okay to support the drivers that you want to support and see win and finish ahead of others, but it is all about supporting. It's all about being nice and respectful to each other. You can have some friendly banter, okay? Right, so thank you for all the subs that have been flying in, guys. Much appreciated. If you can continue to hit that like and subscribe button, let's get this stream to over 1,000 likes, shall we? As Max Verstappen is fastest in the first sector this time around, as Lando seems to have lost a bit of time there in that first sector to Max Verstappen, but he is quicker in the second sector with a purple second sector there for him. So we'll regain that time in the last sector. It seems he lost 2 tenths on Max in the first sector alone. So a slight little error there from Lando Norris, it seems, as he comes around the last corner. And let's see what Lando can do here. No doubt this lap time is slower than Max Verstappen's, I would presume. Yes, 2 tenths slower, 25.2 compared to Max's 25.0. And that difference there in lap time was all in the first sector alone. But this is an intriguing stage of the race. Remember, it was 26.5 seconds was the predicted pit stop lost time. So as it currently stands, Max Verstappen has a pit stop window as he is 28 seconds ahead of Kevin Magnussen. That big gap there as Magnussen is about to come under attack from Pierre Gasly down into turn 1. Will Gasly go for the move? Is he going to be late on the brakes? No, it's just not close enough to the Haas driver down into turn 1, and he stays behind him just a little bit longer. So yes, they do have a pit window at the moment. Max Verstappen, just to get him ahead of Kevin Magnussen, 28.4 seconds there. Lando Norris now dropped back a little bit to 2 seconds. So can Lando last any longer here, or will he pit early? Will they go for the undercut, or will they go for the overcut? We know McLaren like the overcut, but will it work here today? I'm not so sure. Not so sure. I thought Russell would have more pace. It's the first stint of the race. To be fair, it's the first stint of the race. But yeah, it does seem like that George Russell is at minimum 3 to 4 tenths slower than Norris and Verstappen. But is that because he's just on a different strategy? Is he trying to take his tyres longer than that of Norris and Verstappen? Or is he generally just not got the pace? Simple as, really. I don't really know, but you can see there another fastest last sector for Lando Norris at 24.5, 2 tenths quicker than Max there, and that gap now back down to 1.7 seconds after Lando just had a rough couple of the laps where he lost all that advantage, or all that gain that he'd made on Verstappen in the previous few laps. Everyone is in management mode. Yes, so we're at that stage of the race right now where drivers are just in management mode, and they're trying to eke their tyres out to hit their pit stop windows. As Valtteri Bottas is close to Yuki Tsunoda here as he heads down into turn 1. Could Yuki Tsunoda be losing another position to the stake F1 driver of Valtteri Bottas? And yes, he has an easy overtake for Valtteri Bottas down into turn 1. Is Yuki going to be able to come back at him? He's been complaining on the radio that he's pushing as hard as he can, and Yuki, after being not too long ago up into P9, is now back down into P14 where he started. So that RB car is just killing its tyres, and surely Norris radio. As Norris is stating, Norris is told tyres as per model, and he says, well, I'm pushing all out at the moment, but they're kind of okay, they're kind of not. Weird radio message there, really, from Lando Norris. Didn't really give us too much of an insight. But surely we are reaching a window now where we're going to have drivers pitting. 21 laps completed on this medium compound tyre. And, well, if I remember correctly, I think it was lap 19 to 25 is what the pit window was for the one stop. So are we going to see a one stop here? I really hope not. But the fact that the medium is going as long as it is, it does seem like a one-stop is going to be on the cards with them going to a hard compound tyre. As Gasly is all over the back of Magnussen, but he just cannot get close enough out of that last corner to really make that DRS advantage work down into turn 1. I thought overcut bad post-refueling. Yeah, I mean, we've seen McLaren try and implement it a few times this season, but it doesn't seem like the tyres are falling off as as much as what we maybe expected them to. A 2-stop window was maybe those couple of laps under the safety car at the start of this race has helped them in regards to maybe just achieving this 1-stop strategy. Otherwise, maybe it'd be leaning more towards a 2-stop. But it does seem like that they're continuing on at the moment, and they're right in the middle of this pit stop window for the 1-stop strategy. They may even go beyond that, as we have seen in the past as well. So we will see. But Oscar Piastri now starting to get a bit of a move on and try and overtake George Russell. Can Oscar Piastri make an overtake here out of the top 8 drivers? No one's really made an overtake other than the start of this race in the top 8 from the first lap. As Lewis Hamilton is dropping back 2.6 seconds behind Sergio Perez right now. And yeah, these drivers, other than Oscar Piastri, seem to be really in a management mode in this at the end of this first stint. But when is that first pit stop going to come from any of these drivers? No one yet to pit yet. Yuki Tsunoda, you would suspect, might be the first of those as he comes around the last corner, and he is still staying out there. So these drivers trying to go for the 1-stop, most definitely, with how long they are out there at the moment. Herding, rule filling in, non-degrading tyres, overcut was ideal strat. Yes, when you can't get past Checo, it's time to retire. Do Stake have a chance to score a point? On outright pace alone, maybe. I mean, last time around, Zhou Guanyu did a 26.594, and, well, Magnussen did a 26.4, so they've got the pace. Yeah, it does seem like that Zhou Guanyu, in particular, does have the pace to score a point here, but catching Magnussen, Gasly and Alonso is one thing, overtaking is another, as we know, and it may come down to pit stops and so forth, but yes, I would say he does still, with 35 laps remaining, Zhou Guanyu does have an opportunity at a point. Of course, all it takes is for those drivers ahead to go side by side for a couple of corners, and he is well and truly in this fight. But George Russell really under pressure now from Oscar Piastri. 4 tenths back is Oscar Piastri on George Russell. He's really trying to push here at the end of this stint, as there was a fastest lap last time around for Norris, but that fastest lap is still only 1 tenth quicker than Max Verstappen. He's not seeing the gains that maybe he thought he might see at the end of this first stint over the Red Bull driver, but still a long way, as it is for Zhou Guanyu. There's a long way to go for the rest of these drivers, and positions could still change. A poor pit stop could be the difference. A VSC, a safety car. There is a very cheap pit stop on offer if you pit under a safety car condition, 11.5 seconds, as we reviewed at the start of this race. So but they definitely have a nice pit stop window now to Kevin Magnussen, both Verstappen and Lando Norris. They will pit ahead of Kevin Magnussen if they were to do so, but no doubt Verstappen and Norris have much better tyres than those in the midfield, who have been fighting very hard. But Oscar Piastri, can he stay close to the Mercedes driver of George Russell through turn 16? He really needs to be about half a second back. He is gaining on George Russell as he heads into the braking zone. A slight dab of the brakes for the fast right-hander of turn 16. But of course, lots of dirty air being thrown off of that Mercedes, and George Russell pits. George Russell is the first driver out of everyone on the grid thus far to make a pit stop, other than Nico Hulkenberg, which was a false pit stop. So intriguing there that George Russell has pulled the trigger first out of everyone on the grid to make a pit stop. Interesting. I think it's ridiculous to call it racing when you have to watch your tyres, and tyres only last a couple of laps. Get out and race. I disagree, Martin. I think you need this element. You need this in a race, because otherwise we saw a full-on sprint race last time out at Qatar, and that didn't go very well. We didn't really have any racing at all. So, yeah. But Russell comes out behind Fernando Alonso. He's on a hard compound tyre, and let's see if anyone responds to this. Or will the drivers and the teams assess the data of George Russell on this hard compound tyre just to see how he gets on? But now that's released Oscar Piastri into some free air. You can see with that DRS that he had on George Russell down into turn 1, he's just set the fastest first sector out of anyone. So let's see how Oscar Piastri gets on in this clean air. But will anyone respond to the pit stop of George Russell? Let's see. Max Verstappen, does he stay out there? Yes, he does, as does Lando Norris. He also stays out there as well, as it's the fastest lap for Max Verstappen, swiftly taken away by Lando Norris, who is 2 tenths quicker last time around than Max Verstappen. Oscar Piastri, he does a 24.7 that time around, slightly quicker than Max as well, only slower than his teammate. So he's 9.8 seconds back behind his teammate, with Charles Leclerc a further 2 seconds back with a 25.1. So really, the top 3 are in pretty much a league of their own in regards to pace at this stage of the race. Charles Leclerc slightly off the pace here, as is Carlos Sainz. Sergio Perez back down in P6 and Lewis Hamilton down in P7 with a 5-second time penalty to take. As I'm watching George Russell, and I think Mercedes had a very slow pit stop. Oh no, the right rear of George Russell got stuck and he had a 7-second pit stop, and that is why George Russell has come out behind Fernando Alonso as Valtteri Bottas is into the pits. So a poor pit stop there for Mercedes with the right rear getting stuck has meant that George Russell will be coming out maybe behind the Ferraris when the Ferraris pit. There's currently a 22. Definitely. The Ferraris can pit and come out ahead of George Russell as it currently stands. So we'll see. We will see if they decide to respond to George Russell. It could be very important for them here, as Leclerc is starting to close in on Oscar Piastri, it seems. Let's have a look at the lap times as they come across the start-finish line. Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc, a 24.89 and a 24.8. So pretty much a 10th difference there in Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc's previous lap times. And Charles Leclerc is starting to get a move on here with 26 laps into this race. Georgie sabotaged again. Hey Imran, welcome buddy. What happened to George? A 7-second pit stop is what has just happened for George Russell. So he's the first to pit out of the top 8, and well, it means that he is most likely, he's come out behind Fernando Alonso rather than into clean air, and what that means is that the Ferraris will be able to pit and come out ahead of the Mercedes driver. So this has worked out very well for Ferrari. But of course, Ferrari's battle here is not with George Russell. It's with the McLarens, because the McLarens, as it currently stands, will be increasing their championship lead over the Ferraris. It's not enough to secure the Constructors' Championship this weekend, as it currently stands, but it will give them a severe advantage going into the last race of this season. So Norris in P2, slightly closing in on Max Verstappen. They're very neck and neck in pace at the moment, Max and Norris. It's shaping up to be a good second half of this race with 32 laps remaining, as Oscar Piastri is being chased down by Charles Leclerc in P3 as he got stuck behind George Russell for quite a considerable amount of time. And well, Lando there just taking another 2 tenths out of Max Verstappen. And the thing is that Lando, if he gets on the rear wing of Max Verstappen, does have the pace on the Red Bull driver in that last sector, importantly. So if it comes to it, will Lando have that advantage that he needs in the last sector to stay close with DRS to have an opportunity on Max? But as we know, catching is one thing, overtaking is another, ladies and gentlemen. But if you could continue to hit that like and subscribe button, guys, it'd be much appreciated. That number at the bottom of your screen there, let's get that to up to 34,000. It'd be much appreciated. As always, welcome back everyone who keeps tuning into these watch-alongs. Only one more race weekend to go of this 24 race season. What a season it's been. Thank you for everyone who has found this channel and has been continuing to watch these watch-alongs. I hope you've enjoyed the content and of course the video content that comes with it as well. Lando's losing 2 tenths in the first sector too many times. Yes, he is. But he seems to be gaining it in the middle and last sector in particular. But we'll see. We'll see. But, yeah, at the moment, it seems that the hard tyre of George Russell, how has that fired up? Well, 25.9 for George Russell last time out, and he's stuck behind Fernando Alonso. So it's not a very good barometer. It's not a very good barometer at the moment, that hard compound tyre of George Russell into P11, that no doubt all of the teams will be watching George Russell on that hard compound tyre to see if it is the right choice at this moment in time. But it seems with that 25.9 second lap time from George Russell last time out on the hards and struggling to get past Fernando Alonso, who's on 26 lap old mediums, it seems like that might not be the tyre of choice at this moment in time. How long will that soft compound tyre go for? Could could we even see the soft compound tyre come into play here? I didn't think it would be expected, but maybe it will come into play. We will see. Let's move that there. So 22.4 degree track temperature. It's a bit cooler than we've seen. So Kevin Magnussen is coming into the pits now onto the hard compound tyre. We'll see how he gets on. Of course, Valtteri Bottas on the hard as well. And George Russell is coming unstuck behind Fernando Alonso. How costly that pit stop has been for the Mercedes driver. 7-second pit stop, which is why he is behind Fernando Alonso and struggling to get past him at the moment. But Lando Norris there, fastest middle sector again, a 24.8 as they head down across the start-finish line. And, well, Lando, they're neck and neck, Max and Lando at the moment, aren't they? Unbelievable driving from both of them, but they're neck and neck. Only a few hundredths to separate them, as is Oscar Piastri as well, as is Charles Leclerc. Well, last time around Charles was, but he just lost a couple of attempts to Oscar Piastri that last lap. But George Russell, yeah, 26.1. last time. I mean, the mediums is such a better tyre. Valtteri Bottas, a 26.6. Could we see the soft tyre? Could we see the soft tyre? Maybe. We need races where every lap is a quali lap. we had that last year where every lap was a quali lap in Qatar, and it didn't go too well. So yeah, watching the replay, Lewis Hamilton with his big slide. Is he really struggling in that Mercedes? Yeah, wow. Big snap over the curve for Lewis Hamilton. Not happy in that Mercedes, as he hasn't been throughout the duration of this season. So he's obviously looking forward to being in that scarlet red for next season. Did Magnussen have a good stop? Magnussen did have a good stop, I think. Yeah, I haven't seen anything on the TV coverage that suggests otherwise. He has come out quite ahead of Valtteri Bottas, that's for sure. So yeah, Magnussen's okay. He's had a good stop. We'll see if anyone responds. So he was ahead of Pierre Gasly. Is the overcut the best decision here? We will see. As a yellow flag, there's a yellow flag. What has happened? Why is there a yellow flag down into turn 1? Something has happened, as there is no... Why was there a yellow... Why is there a double yellow? What is going on? What is going on? Track surface slippery in Sector 2. What is going on with the data? What is going on? Is there genuinely a yellow flag? Is there not a yellow flag? I have absolutely no idea. Max has definitely slowed down into turn 1. So there was a definite yellow flag. Because that gap has just... Lando's just made up half a second on Verstappen there down into turn 1. What happened? Something definitely happened down into turn 1. And on the TV screens as well, on a TV coverage, they're showing yellow flag into Sector 1 as well. So I'm not sure what happened. Or was it Max? Was it a slight delay here on the track map? But Max actually went... That's what we just saw. But Max definitely lifted. Max definitely came out... Oh, there is a wing mirror down in the middle of the racetrack. And that's why they've thrown a yellow flag. But it's way off the racing line. They need to move that. They do need to move that. That's why there was a yellow flag down into turn 1, which Max lifted for. And that's why Lando gained time there down into turn 1. And obviously the marshals were very... They didn't really know what to do, but there is a wing mirror that is lying in the middle of the racetrack. Now, it's off the racing line, but if someone decides to go for an overtake... Hang on. As Lando's being told, if you've got any pace, push up to Verstappen. As now Lando, that gap's now gone out to 1.7 seconds there, as Lando lost 3 tenths down into turn 1 in the first sector. So it's Alex Albon's right. That's very bizarre. Alex Albon's right wing flew off as he was heading down into the braking zone of turn 1. Very bizarre. Very bizarre right now, as Max Verstappen is getting a move on. A 25.1 last time around for him. That was slow compared to Lando Norris. But this lap, he is setting purple and he's going to set the fastest lap of this race. But these drivers extending this medium compound stint, as George Russell is on the hard compound tyre and is not work is not going very well right now for him, as he is stuck behind Fernando Alonso on this hard compound tyre. So the hard compound tyre is not the tyre to be on at the moment, that is for sure, as the guys who are on 31 lap old mediums are still going considerably quicker than those on the hard. And I think this could be an extension of this medium compound, and the soft, we're going to see the softs. Most definitely we're going to see the softs here, which I did not predict at the start of this race. And I'll tell you what, George Russell is could be a big loser here, as Max Verstappen is stating, thank you for the yellow flag. As Max is stating, Lando didn't lift with the yellow, and that's what Lando's done. Lando has lifted out of, as ensured that the gap has been maintained with Verstappen, to him and Verstappen, so that he doesn't get a penalty because there was a yellow. So yes, that's what's happened there. So Nico Hulkenberg coming in for his second pit stop, as Yuki Tsunoda is under attack from the wingless Alex Albon. Or he's got one wing left, one rear wing left. As Tsunoda still yet to pit as well, and George Russell still yet to overtake Fernando Alonso, and Mercedes have really screwed over Russell here in this race with their strategy, with the pit stop time and with the hard compound tyre also. This medium compound tyre is lasting an absolute age. And I think, of course, with the debacle that happened last year, with the tyres, no doubt, a bit overcautious this year, Pirelli have been with the level of compound we've had. And these mediums are just lasting considerably longer than anyone expected. Maybe next year they'll be a step softer. That's not what happened. Lando didn't lift, period. Well, the gap went out to what it was just before, so I'm assuming that. I'm making an assumption. Maybe he didn't, but yeah. Let's get back to teams who could pick their own tyre supplier. It's pretty predictable when you know when cars need to come in to change tyres. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see a change in tyre manufacturer, but yeah, Pirelli are on for the next few years, aren't they? So, high threats of undercut from Norris. Yeah, maybe. Oh, Lando's just gone out to 2.5 seconds. He's had a slow first sector there of 31.7 compared to Max's 31.3, and he's lost another 2 tenths in the middle sector. So yes, Lando's starting to struggle on this medium compound tyre. We have 25 laps remaining, and I suppose the question is, when can they go onto the soft compound tyre? That is what they're going to be going for. As I'm watching the replay of Lando Norris as he went wide through turn 16. No, sorry, we're watching the replay of the yellow flag. Watching the replay of the yellow flag. That's what I was watching on the TV coverage there. So as we head down the field, so let's have a rundown of this grid at the moment. Is Max Verstappen leading from Lando Norris with 24 laps remaining. 2.5 second gap to the Red Bull driver and the McLaren driver of Lando. Oscar Piastri, a further 9 seconds back to Norris in P3. Charles Leclerc in P4. He's 1.7 seconds back from Piastri, trying to chase him down. At least put a Ferrari between the two McLarens to try and limit this advantage that McLaren will have going into the last race of the season in the Constructors, with Carlos Sainz in P5. Sergio Perez is in P6, 11 seconds behind Carlos Sainz, but he is comfortably ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who is struggling with this Mercedes and has a 5-second time penalty for a false start that he is still yet to take. Pierre Gasly is in P8 as Kevin Magnussen pitted to go onto the hard compound tyre, but the hard compound tyre does not seem to be the tyre of choice here for the second stint, as George Russell is going ahead of Fernando Alonso finally into turn 1 after about 6 laps of being stuck behind Fernando Alonso, or 10 laps, sorry. George Russell is now got past the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso, and wow, let's see then what George Russell can do in clean air. This is what the teams will be analysing to see what George Russell in that Mercedes can do in clean air on a set of hard compound tyres. But evidently, it is very difficult to overtake another car on this hard compound tyre as it currently stands. So clean air may be good for this hard compound, but it might not be so good in dirty air. So here's Piastri. He's in the pits. This is interesting. What will Oscar Piastri go to? Will it be a set of hards or will it be a set of softs? As Lewis Hamilton has a puncture. Lewis Hamilton has a puncture. Lewis Hamilton has a puncture, which is why he's going very slow. And he's down into P11. Lewis Hamilton has a puncture. Will he be able to make it back to the pits? Carlos Sainz is in the pits as well. Oscar Piastri, what tyre is he out on? Yet to see the data update itself. But Lewis Hamilton has picked up a puncture with no car contact whatsoever. His tyre has been given away. As Oscar Piastri does go onto the hard compound tyre. As we've also got Carlos Sainz had a puncture as well. Carlos Sainz also has a puncture. So we're starting to see this medium compound tyre come to the end of its life. And Carlos Sainz had a puncture. He was closer to the pit stop than Lewis Hamilton. He is now out on a set of hard compound tyres. And there is a safety car. There is a safety car, and you will get a cheap pit stop if you pit under the safety car. No doubt Verstappen and Norris will dive into the pits now as that was pulled out of the end of the last corner. And wow, the tyres have come to the end of their life, it seems, over these curbs, as Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton got punctures within seconds of each other. They both had the same amount of tyre life on their tyres. And this is reminiscent of Silverstone all those years ago, where tyres just came to an end. Wow. Wow. Both at the same time, Lewis Hamilton and Carlos Sainz. Lewis Hamilton has just been lapped by Max Verstappen and Lando Norris there due to that puncture. As Lewis Hamilton down in P16. A shocker from him. That pit stop, that happened at the end of the lap, at the start of his lap, whereas for Carlos Sainz it happened at the end, so Carlos Sainz hasn't seen too much. As Lewis Hamilton reports on the radio, trust me to have this luck. He sounds downbeat, but he will be able to take that 5-second time penalty, but it doesn't really matter as he's down in P16. This has saved George Russell somewhat, as he has already made that pit stop, but he will not. Will he come out ahead of Pierre Gasly? We will see. No, George Russell's making another pit stop. George Russell is making another pit stop. So is he going to go onto another set of hards, or is he going to go onto a set of mediums? Because he's already done the hard tyre, this could work out very well for George Russell if he goes onto another set of mediums, which I think he does have available. Let's see what George Russell goes on to. George Russell comes out onto a set of... I'm waiting for it as he comes out of the pit lane. George Russell, the only driver yet to show what actual tyre he's on. Come on. Bottas hit Albon's wing mirror and made it spread debris, and then Carlos and Hamilton hit the debris. Oh, was it the debris? Oh. Hang on. Was it the debris then? Was it the debris? I thought it was just the tyres. George Russell is on another set of hard compound tyres, so that's interesting. I thought they would go onto a set of mediums, and I'm not quite sure why they've gone onto another set of hards. That's intriguing. Did Hamilton... They do have a set of brand new... They do have another set of mediums available, so I don't know why they've put George Russell on a set of hards again. That doesn't make sense. Hards are good. I don't think they are. No, not from what we saw from the pace. Not from what we saw from the pace. FA didn't clean up the mirror and then they hit hard. Okay, fair enough. So I take it back, guys. It is not tyre blow-ups from the tyres taking too much. What it has done is that there was the wing that fell off of Alex Albon's car down the main straight. And then Lewis Hamilton and Sainz have hit that debris, and it's given them punctures within the same lap of each other. So that is what has happened. That is what has brought out the safety car. And that is why Lewis Hamilton and Sainz got punctures. But I'm intrigued that George Russell is back on the hards. He does have a brand new set of mediums available to him, by the way. And because he's done the 2-tyre rule, I don't know why he's not on the mediums. I don't know why he's not on the mediums. Now, drivers are going through the pit lane because of the debris. As George Russell, right on the radio, is effing and blinding about the hards being put back on his tyres. And I totally agree with him right now. Why has he got the hard compound tyres on, George Russell? That is an absolute big mistake by them there. So I'm watching the replay of this debris. Oh, yeah, it's Valtteri Bottas who moved over to let Carlos Sainz through. And yeah, they're just on the racing line. He basically dispersed the debris of the wing mirror, and Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton are just on the racing line going down the main straight, and they just pick up punctures. Very, very bizarre sort of situation. But yes, that should have been a VSC some time ago to be able to get rid of that wing mirror. And now we have this situation of a safety car. Because there's lots of debris down the main straight, which they're trying to get rid of. That's what caused the punctures initially for Lewis Hamilton and Carlos Sainz, and that is why we're at this stage right now. But yes, George Russell, Mercedes have missed a big trick here, guys, as they've put George Russell, who has a brand new set of mediums available to him, back onto the hard compound tyre. Very, very bizarre decision by Mercedes, which George Russell is absolutely fuming about, understandably, as the medium compound tyre has been the much quicker tyre throughout the duration of this race. We saw the hard compound tyre quick to fire up, and I'll tell you what, Fernando Alonso in P10 right now on 6-lap-old mediums is in a very good position here to gain some places. I'm very surprised, of course. George Russell was the only driver out of the top 8 who had pitted. It looked like the race had gone for him because of that slow pit stop, because of the hard compound tyre struggling to fire up, and he had an opportunity to go back onto another set of mediums and potentially drive through this field and get a decent result. And now he's back on the same set of, he's now back on another set of hards. Very, very bizarre. Very, very bizarre. Interesting to see what the strategy is or the reasons for that afterwards. But George Russell is fuming over the radio. But yes, let's have a run through of this grid as they are trying to clear the debris down the main straight. Hence why drivers are making their way through the pit lane. But we have Verstappen in P1 from Lando Norris in P2. Charles Leclerc is in P3 with Oscar Piastri in P4. Sergio Perez is in P5. Interestingly there, for Oscar Piastri had just made his pit stop before the safety car came out. So he was ahead of Charles Leclerc, and now he comes out behind him because of Charles Leclerc getting the cheaper pit stop compared to Piastri. Sergio Perez is up into P5. Kind of like not even really that deserved from Sergio Perez, as he's been well off the pace today. Pierre Gasly up 5 positions into P6. Great result from him if he can convert this. George Russell into P7, down 6 places. He started on pole position today, but of course lost that down into the first corner, and now he is back in P7. Carlos Sainz, who picked up a puncher there from that debris from Alex Albon's wing mirror, but got smashed by Valtteri Bottas by letting a driver lap him. As you can see, the safety car will now use the start-finish straight, so that debris has been cleared, and with cars that have been lapped unlapping themselves, which is Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas, who Hamilton was another driver who got a bit of debris there, unfortunately for him. But we can see Zhou Guanyu is in 9th place. Zhou Guanyu is on, he has 20 laps remaining to try and score his first points of the season. Can he do it? Can he do it? Fernando Alonso is in P10. He's on the medium compound tyre. He's very well positioned to he's on. Sorry, just watching a replay here. Wow. Magnussen in 11th, Tsunoda in 12th, Albon in 13th. We've got so Magnussen. He's decided not to pit. Why is Magnussen on a serve? So Magnussen's gone on to another set of mediums. So Magnussen's got onto another set of mediums, a used set of mediums, because they think that's the better tyre than the hard compound. So that's interesting, but Magnussen, they much prefer Haas to put Magnussen on 28-lap-old medium tyres, which no doubt were used from the sprint yesterday, then onto a brand new set of hards. That is potentially what Mercedes have mistakenly done to George Russell. We'll see if that works out for Magnussen. Yuki Tsunoda is in P12. Albon is on the soft compound tyre. Intrigued to see how long those softs can last for Albon. With how the medium compound tyre has worked, it wouldn't surprise me if the soft is a good tyre choice for the remainder of this race. We will see. Nico Hulkenberg also in a good position as well on the mediums. Lawson, P15, Hamilton, P16, and Bottas in P17. But neither Hamilton or Russell, who had brand new sets of mediums available, are on the mediums. So bizarre in my personal opinion, but let's see what's going to happen. Safety car is in this lap, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to get racing again. 19 laps remaining. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Continue. Let's get this stream to 1,000 likes. Go on, hit it up. Hit that up. Hit that up. You know you can. You know you can. A hard tyre's better outside of the racing line with it being so dirty. No, you'd want the softer compound. You'd want the softer compound. There is still debris. Is there still debris? Can I fix the tyre allocations? No, I can't fix the tyre allocations. That is how it goes. So the tyres, because they have been going through the pit lane, that is what has happened. So the tyres are as they are. Right. Here we go. Here we go. Alonso and Magnussen are on the hards. Hulkenberg's on the mediums. Hulkenberg's on the mediums. Bottas on the mediums. We've got Albon on the sauce. Let's see. Jensen Button saying you'd want to be on the mediums. As what has happened to Sergio Perez there? What's happened to Sergio Perez? Sergio Perez has got an issue. Sergio Perez, has he got a puncture? Has Sergio Perez got a puncture? As Sergio Perez has fallen back through the restart here, and Sergio Perez, this could be another safety car, as Sergio Perez is going very slowly at the race start here, on the restart, as we are back underway racing. Maybe there is still debris down into the first corner, as Sergio Perez is at the back here, but Lando Norris has got a good start. He's side by side with Max Verstappen on the race restart as they head down into turn 1. Is Norris in the lead, but will he be able to hold it down into T1? No, because Max Verstappen regains the lead down into turn 1, as George Russell is gaining a position there as well, and Max Verstappen holds on to the lead from Lando Norris as Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri are side by side into turn 4. Who's going to come out ahead between Piastri and Leclerc? And it is Leclerc who holds on to that place. But wow, Lando Norris on Max Verstappen there. And well, Sergio Perez is struggling to even make it to the end or make it to the pit stop here, as Sergio Perez, I think, has a pit stop. The TV coverage haven't picked this up yet. There is a yellow flag in the last corner. Max Verstappen leads Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, and well, we can see there that Fernando Alonso has already made it up into P8. As, oh my god, Pierre Gasly locked up big time, and there's another safety VSC. There's a VSC deployed, and well, Sergio Perez cannot make it to the back to the pit lane here, and Sergio Perez, Pierre Gasly locked up. Nico Hulkenberg's also going slowly as well, and we have still considerable amount of debris on this racing surface at the moment. We've still lots of drivers out there picking up punctures. We've lost Hulkenberg and Perez here, it seems. Wow, what is happening in this race right now? What is happening in this race right now? Another safety car on this race restart. We have 18 laps remaining, still plenty of racing to go, but Sergio Perez is out. Nico Hulkenberg has pulled over. As no, Sergio Perez has lost drive. Sergio Perez's car has quit. Sergio Perez's car quit. What has happened here? It was a VSC, and Nico Hulkenberg's gone off into the gravel. What is happening here today? What has happened here today? I don't know what's happened with Nico Hulkenberg there. So basically, Sergio Perez lost drive. His car went round into a spin as it shut off. So Sergio Perez could not make it back to the pit lane. Liam Lawson is pitting now, as is Yuki Tsunoda as well. A double stack there for the two RB cars. But Nico Hulkenberg, I'm not sure what happened to Nico Hulkenberg, but Nico Hulkenberg has gone into the gravel there at turn 9, in between turn 9 and 10. Not sure yet what's happened. I wondered if there was maybe 2 punctures there, as we've been reported debris was still on the racing surface down into turn 1. But wow, Lando Norris really went for it on Max Verstappen. They were side by side, but Pierre Gasly, oh my god, he locked up and went straight through, as Lando Norris is being noted for failing to slow under yellow flags. Is that for earlier on in the race, lap 41? No, that's now. That's now. Lando Norris has been reported for failing to slow under yellow flags. What is going on in this race, guys? What is going on in this race? V-carbs on softs. Wow. Wow. Potential race restart. No, I don't think there'll be a race restart. They'll be getting rid of Nico Hülkenberg right now. Just red flag. Is this the result of too many races in 1 year? Maybe, maybe. So I'm watching Sergio Perez's replay, and he's going through turn 14. And then the car just goes round on him as it cuts out. What happened? Very strange, very strange. Watching Lando, he went round the outside of Max Verstappen through turn 1. And oh, is that ahead of the is Max using the head of the apex rule there? They both stayed on the track, so I think Max used the head of the apex rule there. So he most definitely was not going to allow anyone to get round the outside of him. As Lando is being told, it's been investigated for failing to slow under the yellow flags. As I'm watching George Russell go side by side with Pierre Gasly, as Pierre Gasly locked up and nearly went straight into the back of Oscar Piastri. Wow. Wow. Where's the thing there? There we go. Steward incident. Norris being investigated there. Oh, what a crazy race, guys. What a crazy race right now. The fact that last year the drivers couldn't complete the race without feeling sick from the heat, and now they refuse to clean debris. Now this track is doomed. Safety car in this lap. I'm still yet to see what happened to Nico Hülkenberg, by the way, so hopefully we'll get a replay of that before this race gets back underway, guys. But continue to hit that like button. 740 of you right now. Please continue to hit that. If you can, hit that like button. Get this stream to 1,000 likes. It'd be much appreciated. As great racing there between Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri as they went side by side up to turn 4. And it's sounding like apparently that Lando Norris did not slow under yellow flags. So Lando might get a penalty. Lando might get a penalty for not slowing under yellow flags. Oh dear. Oh dear. But keep an eye out on Charles Leclerc. Of course, this would be great for Ferrari's chances in the Constructors' Championship. As Nico Hülkenberg got tagged. Just watching the replay as the race restart is about to get underway from Nico Hülkenberg as he went... Oh, Nico Hülkenberg just went round. He just went round on himself. So no debris issues. Just driver error for Nico Hülkenberg. A very scrappy race from him today, and he is out of this race. We have lost 5 cars today. In this Qatar Grand Prix, only 15 cars remaining. Lewis Hamilton is back up into P12 after at one point being lapped just a few laps ago. But here we go once again. 16 laps remaining. Max Verstappen leads down into turn 16 on this third race restart today. Yes, the third race restart. As Lando Norris is not close enough to Max Verstappen now. He's actually got to be more careful of the Ferrari behind him. As Charles Leclerc is in the tow of Lando Norris. Will he be able to go around the outside and make a move for P2 on Lando Norris? He's already dispatched Piastri today, and no, Lando Norris defends, but Lando Norris is being investigated for not slowing under yellow flags, as Alex Albon, on a set of soft compound tyres, is now up into P10. We have Zhou Guanyu on a set of hard compound tyres, and well, I'm really intrigued to see how Alonso and Albon can get here on these softer compound tyres, whether they'll be able to pick their way through the field with 15 laps remaining. Max Verstappen leads from Lando Norris in P2, Charles Leclerc in P3, Oscar Piastri P4, George Russell fuming that he's not on a brand new set of mediums right now in P5. Pierre Gasly, a great result from him if he can continue to finish in the top 6 here. Being chased down by Carlos Sainz in P7, Fernando Alonso on the medium compound tyre in P8, and Zhou Guanyu on the hards in P9, Albon in P10, Magnussen 11th, Bottas in 12th, Tsunoda 13th, Hamilton 14th, and Lawson 15th. We have currently lost Hülkenberg, Perez, Stroll, Ocon, and Colapinto, and well, it is Max Verstappen 0.8 seconds ahead of Lando Norris, and Charles Leclerc has already fallen outside of the DRS of Lando Norris. DRS will be activated next time around, and well, let's see if on these hard set of compound tyres, Max Verstappen and Lando Norris, who is going to be better on this harder set. We know the McLaren comes on strong on lower fuel towards the end of a race, and that's what I'm intrigued to see here with Lando Norris on this set of hard compound tyres. He's now in the DRS of Max Verstappen, which he hasn't been throughout the duration of this race. He only was in the first couple of laps, and then he lost it throughout, and let's see if he can stay tight behind him and if we can have a race for the lead. They've already gone side by side on the last race restart, but not this time around. As Piastri is being told, is asking if he can see the left as he has a bit of vibration, and is that why he's fallen back a little bit behind Charles Leclerc? But you can see there Max and Norris in a bit of a league of their own, and there's a 10-second stop and go penalty. A stop and go. A stop and go penalty. A penalty we have not seen for quite some time. A stop and go penalty for Lando Norris for failing to slow under yellow flags. We have not seen a penalty dished out as stop and go for quite some time, because that is not just a 10-second time penalty. That is in effect a 40-second time penalty, because you have to add on the time taken to head through the pit lane. That is an unprecedented penalty that we have seen. I don't think we've seen that in quite some time. That has pretty much handed the win to Max Verstappen right now, as Lando Norris will not be able to win this race from Max Verstappen. He will have to take that penalty at some point in the next few laps. And well, with 13 laps remaining, Lando Norris, who is 4 tenths behind Max Verstappen, is going to have to take that penalty, and that is massively going to hurt for McLaren's chances in this Constructors' Championship, because Norris, with the field as tight as it is right now, he will finish outside of the points positions as it currently stands, because the field spread is only 15 seconds. Wow, what of a change of circumstances here in this Constructors' title. That will promote Charles Leclerc to P2 and Sainz up a position as well, and it will leave only McLaren with 1 point scoring car. Max Verstappen will win this race. Lando Norris, the information hasn't been relayed to him just yet. But, well, Max Verstappen leading from Lando Norris 8 tenths. That is definitely going to be Max Verstappen with Leclerc, as Hamilton has been noted for speeding in the pit lane. Albon is being investigated for causing a collision with Magnussen as he just went into the side of him and forced him off the racing circuit. The stewards are very busy here this weekend, and Max Verstappen is leading from Lando Norris. When will Lando come and take this penalty? Will he wait till the last lap? And there he goes, Lando into the pit lane for this stop and 10-second stop and go penalty. This is a 40-second stop go penalty. He has to serve it within 2 laps, and that's why he's in there right now. Jensen Button reporting it is a little bit extreme. I'd love to know when the last time a 10 stop and go penalty was issued and what for. And I'd love to know what failing to slow under the yellow flags, what the last penalty dished out was for. And this kind of points back again to the consistency of the stewards' rulings. But I will hold my tongue until I know further. But Lando Norris there out into P15, and he is now 17 seconds. Yes, Lando Norris is 17 seconds behind Liam Lawson. Wow, K-Mag got 2 such 10-second penalties this year. Well, I'll see. We'll have a look at it afterwards. I'm sure you guys will be able to inform me after this race. But Max Verstappen leads 3.5 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc, who is now into P2. Oscar Piastri into P3. And what a change that has had for the Constructors' Championship here. I'm not sure of the permutations, but it is definitely more favourable to Ferrari, with only one more race weekend ahead of us in Abu Dhabi. Wow, and there's a drive-through penalty for Lewis Hamilton. We're seeing drive-through penalties for speeding in the pit lane. Lewis Hamilton has been given a drive-through for speeding in the pit lane. What? What? When has that been a drive-through penalty? When has that been a drive-through penalty? I mean, okay. I mean, we wanted to see the return of drive-through penalties and stop-go penalties, but I'm not sure either of those are really warranted for a drive-through. I mean, there's safety concerns. I get it. There's safety penalties. But that is I mean, that's going to be a talking point after this race, guys. Similarly, when was the last time a speeding penalty, speeding in the pit lane, what was the last penalty that was given for that? Maybe it's been discussed beforehand, I don't know. But that seems quite aggressive for speeding in the pit lane. I'm pretty sure a drive-through penalty hasn't been given before for quite some time for that. But, yeah, it's nice to see them be returned, drive-through penalties and stop-go penalties. But I'm not sure those are what we wanted to see them applied for. That's just my initial opinion, but we'll review it after the race, guys. Stick around for our race chat, of course. Yeah, Max Verstappen has been leading every single lap, and he looks like he's going to with only 10 laps remaining. He is P1, 3.9 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. Piastri is in P3, George Russell in P4. Who knows where he could be if he was on the medium compound tyre right now. Pierre Gasly is in P5. He is currently holding off Carlos Sainz as Lewis Hamilton is coming into the pit lane for that drive-through penalty. That is something right there, and what a day this has been for Lewis Hamilton. As Lando Norris 15 seconds behind, currently well, it was Lewis Hamilton. He's even further behind Liam Lawson at the moment. No, 11 seconds behind Liam Lawson at the moment, and Yuki Tsunoda. Alex Albon. By the way, Zhou Guanyu update. Max Verstappen may be winning this race. Charles Leclerc may be increasing Ferrari's chances of a constructors' title, and with Piastri in P3 and Lando in P14. But the story of today thus far, with 10 laps remaining, is that Zhou Guanyu is in 8th place. Yes, you heard that correctly. Zhou Guanyu is in 8th place. He has a 3.5 second gap to Alex Albon in P9. He has a 4-second gap to Magnussen in P10, and well, he could be scoring his first point of the season after his best race last week in Vegas. He could be scoring the first point of the season and for Stake F1, and I'll tell you what, with Valtteri Bottas 2.8 seconds behind Magnussen, and with Albon and Magnussen already colliding together thus far, they could score double points here today, Stake F1. Unbelievable day here at Qatar. What a race it's been. Lando Norris is setting purple sectors everywhere in clean air at the moment, with his race completely ruined for not slowing under yellow flags with an unprecedented stop-go penalty. We haven't seen that for quite some time. And well, Kevin Magnussen has just got past Alex Albon. So Alex Albon is on this set of soft compound tyres, has been overtaken by Kevin Magnussen. He's down one rear view mirror as it currently stands, which has caused absolute carnage here today with those punches to Lewis Hamilton and Carlos Sainz. And well, it is Zhou Guanyu 4 seconds ahead of Magnussen with 9 laps remaining. Go on, Zhou Guanyu, you can do it. A 24.9 from him last time around compared to Magnussen's 25.5. We'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully Albon can come back at Magnussen and ensure that Zhou has a nice gap to K-Mag. But I think, you know, with the sector times I'm seeing right now, it seems that Zhou Guanyu might be able to hold his own. The soft runners are shot. It seems that the softs haven't really done that well, have they? They're not lasting that well. Albon is in the 32s in the first sector, as is Tsunoda, as is Lawson. So the soft tyres hasn't worked out for them. And I'll tell you what, this could work out well for Bottas, because Bottas is catching Alex Albon. That gap was 2.8 seconds not too long ago, last time around, and Bottas has got that gap to under 2 seconds right now, who is on the medium compound tyre. And well, Bottas is hunting down Albon, and it could be a double points finish for Stake F1. Who cares about the lead? Who cares about the podium positions? It's all about Stake F1 right now in this Qatar GP. Max Verstappen leading from Charles Leclerc, Piastri in P3. Russell in P4. Can Russell overtake Oscar Piastri and make that gap at the top of the constructors' standings even closer by splitting the McLaren another position away from Charles Leclerc? Pierre Gasly as well is going to score a considerable amount of points to regain 6th place for Alpine over Haas and RB. RB looking here for a second race in a row without any points. Sorry, not second race without any points, but well, not scoring hardly any points here this weekend, really, RB, compared to Magnussen in P9 and Gasly in P5. That is quite a difference in points finishing positions there. But Bottas, 1.3 seconds, Bottas to Alex Albon right now. 1.1 seconds. The gap is closing. It's not when, it's not if, it's when Valtteri Bottas will overtake Alex Albon. 1.2 seconds to Alex Albon now. He is going to be in the DRS potentially as he comes out of turn 16. No, not enough. But he is gaining on Albon, who is on 14-lap-old softs. The strategy, the bold call for Williams hasn't worked out. I think Albon's been in the wars today. He's made contact with Lance Stroll, who got a 10-second time penalty. He's made contact with Kevin Magnussen. as Magnussen getting bolshy on the radio to Alex Albon, saying F off to Albon, not too happy about that incident previously. But Bottas is now 0.8 seconds behind Alex Albon, as Magnussen is 4 seconds behind Zhou Guanyu. And Zhou Guanyu seems to comfortably have Magnussen covered, who is on 8-lap-old harder tyres. So stake F1 with 7 laps remaining. You can do it. Come on. Come on. I'm so glad this season is almost over. Lewis needs to put this behind him. Yep, Lando had a penalty, assessed 10-second penalty, and I'm sure he's pissed. Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. So yeah, 10-second stop-go penalty for Lando Norris is what was dished out for him for failing to slow under yellow flags when the safety car came out, and there was a drive-through penalty for Lewis Hamilton for speeding in the pit lane. 2 types of penalties that we haven't seen for quite some time. So I'd love to go back and have a look at when those penalties were dished out last, and particularly for those infringements, what was the last type of penalty that was dished out to them? That is going to be very intriguing to research after this race has ended. But with 6 laps remaining, it is Max Verstappen leading 4.6 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. The only competitor he had today was Lando Norris, but with that 10-second stop-go penalty, that has really put a spanner in the works to Lando's chances of a race win here, and also to McLaren's chances of a Constructors' title as well. Valtteri Bottas is all over the back of Alex Albon right now. He didn't have enough to overtake him down into turn 2. And well, Lando Norris is chasing down Valtteri Bottas here. And Lando Norris, could he potentially scupper a double points finish for Stake F1? Oh, wow. What a race this could be. Of course, that point that Lando could potentially score on Valtteri Bottas and Alex Albon, that could be all important come the end of the season, with the Constructors no doubt going to be very tight after this race, as Charles Leclerc is holding off comfortably Oscar Piastri with 5 laps remaining as Max Verstappen crosses the start-finish line. George Russell, a race of what could have been for him, of course, lost P1, went down to P3 after the first couple of corners, and well, he had a very slow pit stop, a 7-second pit stop. He had a respite, he had a back into this race with the first safety car, but Mercedes decided to put him back onto the hards rather than the mediums. A very bizarre decision really from him, but from Mercedes on a fresh set of mediums. You do think with how well they were performing earlier on in the race that that would have been a great strategy decision by Mercedes, but they didn't. Gasly up 6 positions in P5. He seems to have the better of Carlos Sainz in P6. Well, I say that last time around as Bottas has got ahead of Alex Albon down into P1, down into turn 1. Alex Albon's coming back at him, but Lando Norris, who has got a 10-second stop-go penalty, is all over the back of Alex Albon, struggling on that set of soft compound tyres, and he is so much quicker at the moment, Norris, in that McLaren than Valtteri Bottas. But you do think, as Norris is overtaken Albon down into P4, and well, it may be short-lived, but for a moment in time, with 5 laps remaining, it looked like the Stake F1 are going to score double points. But Valtteri Bottas, you do think, on 25-lap-old mediums, compared to the pacey Lando Norris in the McLaren, who no doubt is angry. He has red mist under that visor right now, is going to dispatch Valtteri Bottas, and he will be able to get an all-important point here for McLaren in this Constructors' Championship with 1 race remaining. And well, going back to Carlos Sainz and Pierre Gasly, I was saying that Gasly seemed to have Sainz covered, but in the last couple of laps, Sainz has really taken some time out of Pierre Gasly and is looking to increase the points advantage that Ferrari are now going to have over McLaren in this race. Valtteri Bottas, you can see out of the last corner there, and there's a 10-second time penalty for Alex Albon for causing a collision. How many penalties have we seen dished out here today, ladies and gentlemen? Oh my god, it's almost a record, I think, as Lando Norris dispatches Valtteri Bottas. It was short-lived. It was a nice, glorious moment to see Bottas in 10th place, but Lando Norris is in 10th place now, and he's going to score an all-important point for McLaren. But can Sainz gain some more points here for Ferrari in this Constructors' battle and overtake Pierre Gasly? They are the closest drivers out there on circuit for a meaningful position. Lewis Hamilton, the next closest, behind Liam Lawson. He is the last of the runners, Lewis Hamilton, in P15. It's been a terrible race for Lewis Hamilton today with a struggling balanced car. He picked up a punch-up with the debris. It put him a lap down, and then he had a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But wow, Pierre Gasly now, can he defend from Sainz? He's half a second back from Pierre Gasly there. He was under half a second out of into turn 16, but lost a bit under rear traction. But has this Ferrari got the pace on Pierre Gasly? This is still a good performance from Gasly, even if he loses the position to Sainz here. They're side by side into turn 1, and Gasly covers off the position. He wants that top 5. He's not giving it up to Sainz, even though you're in the Ferrari, even though you're in a quicker car, even though P6 would still be a great position for Gasly to finish in. He wants that top 5. A standout performer, Pierre Gasly, since the summer break. Arguably the standout performer. And wow, he is doing God's work right now in that Alpine. Can he last 2 more laps after this? We're on the 3rd to last lap. Here we go. Woo! Lots of track limits, guys. Lots of track limits. Gasly has 3 track limits violations. 1 more and he'll receive a penalty. Alonso also has 2. Magnussen has 2. Lawson has 2, as does Piastri. And, well, Gasly, good traction there out of turn 10. Gasly is Sainz struggling there. You can see that gap has just shot straight back out to 9 tenths. And, well, Gasly, can he keep him that far back? If he's got him half a second back like we saw last time, it may be that he can cover off Sainz. But look at the speed the Ferrari has in Carlos Sainz through turn 14 and turn 15. But he is not close enough here. He's not close enough. He lost a few temps out of the last corner there. And Gasly, even with DRS, Carlos Sainz might not have enough here to go into turn 1. And, well, Russell's been noted for a safety car infringement. More penalties on the way. George Russell, Gasly could maybe gain a further position here, as could Carlos Sainz in the Constructors, as Russell is being noted for a safety car infringement. Oh, my God. There's more penalties and investigations in this race, guys, than I've had hot dinners. Please, guys, as we are approaching, we're on the penultimate lap here. Hit that like and subscribe button if you've enjoyed this stream. If there's Alex Albon coming into the pit lane, have they finally spared his blushes and they're putting him into the pit lane? We will see as Lewis Hamilton is going to get past Yuki Tsunoda down into turn 1. He does. Lewis Hamilton down into turn 1. But we are about to approach the last lap now, and really it is all about Pierre Gasly and Carlos Sainz. And, well, you can see there Gasly importantly gets the traction out of turn 10 on Carlos Sainz. Sainz does regain the DRS through the last sector, and oh my God, what just happened there? I think Gasly might have just had a little wobble as Sainz really gained through turn 13 and 14. This might give Sainz an opportunity down into the first corner. Pierre Gasly through turn 16 here. We're on the final lap. Max Verstappen leads from Charles Leclerc, from Piastri, and George Russell is under investigation. But here, one more opportunity for Carlos Sainz. DRS open down into turn 1. Can he get a top 5? 4 attempts, 2.5 attempts. And no, he cannot do it. Can Gasly hold on through turn 1? He can. Pierre Gasly, what a drive thus far. He still has a whole lap remaining. Of course, this track is quite treacherous at this stage of the race with these tyres. A lot of pressure has been put through them, a lot of energy. They are on their limits. And, well, we only have half a lap remaining until Max Verstappen is going to win again this season. Lando Norris, of course, a race of what could have been if he didn't speed under the yellow flags. A yellow flag infringement for him that gave him an unprecedented 10-second stop-go penalty. We've seen some unprecedented or some penalties that we haven't seen for a very long time dished out today. But Max Verstappen, he's a 4-time world champion. He was off the pace in the sprint race on Friday, sprint qualified on Friday, and the race yesterday. Maybe still hungover from his 4th world title, securing it back in Las Vegas. But he is fully recovered now, as he has won the Qatar Grand Prix in 2024. Charles Leclerc holds off a charging Oscar Piastri and extends, or just minimises the gap between McLaren and Ferrari in the Constructors, as George Russell is being investigated for a safety car infringement. Gasly holds off Carlos Sainz in P5. A great result for Pierre Gasly, which is essential to their Constructors' Championship as well in P6. It regains P6 after losing it yesterday to Haas. Carlos Sainz, he could still gain another position there. Also, Piastri is being investigated for an infringement before the race even begun. So it could be even better for Ferrari. We will see. Fernando Alonso, a great result from him in P7. Zhou Guanyu has scored points. 8th place for Zhou Guanyu. W's in the chat for Zhou Guanyu, everyone. W's in the chat for Zhou Guanyu. What a result for... Oh. Do we even need to do a driver of the day poll? Do we even need to do it? Zhou Guanyu, P8, Kevin Magnussen in P9. Norris scores a very important point for McLaren after receiving that 10-second stop-go penalty. So close for Valtteri Bottas. So close. As another confirmation there of incident involving the safety car infringement of George Russell is being investigated. We can see that Lewis Hamilton, a very topsy-turvy race from him in P12. Tsunoda in P13. Lawson P14. Albon in P15. Hulkenberg is in 16th, retired. Perez retired. Stroll retired. Ocon and Colapinto didn't see the end of the first corner. And, well, there we go. What a race, guys. What a race. Unbelievable. Let's do driver of the day poll. Let's do driver of the day poll. We've got to do it. What a drive from him. Shame he hasn't got a seat. Well, I say shame he hasn't got a seat for next year. Why couldn't he have done this earlier on in the season? Who knows? But a great result for Zhou Guanyu. And 5-second time penalty for George Russell. It doesn't do anything in relation to the final race positions as George Russell gets a 5-second time penalty there at the end. How many penalties have we had dished out today? Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm going to do those 3, I think. I think that's fair. Why can't I have driver of the day? Oh, I want that one to go. There we go. Mate, that is crazy. Still P4, still P4. Oh, breathe, Scott. Breathe. Breathe. Guys, if you could hit that like button and get this stream to over 1,000 likes, it'd be much appreciated. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do. Please do. We are at... What are we at? Let's have a look here. What are we at? 33,676. Go on, guys. Hit that subscribe button and get this stream to... Get this channel to 34,000. It'd be much appreciated. But wow. What a race. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I wasn't as pumped for this race today. I wasn't as pumped. But oh my god, am I glad. Oh my god, am I glad I do these watch-alongs. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Big thank you as always, guys. We have one race remaining. Just imagine, right, what next season's going to be like. Just imagine. Oh, can't wait. Can't wait. I can't wait. Max did defend really well, even when the safety car made everything right. Yeah, no, Max did defend really well. Yeah, he did, yeah. Thank goodness Albon's mirror flew off, yeah. What the hell happened? Yeah. FIA throwing too much drama, yeah. Well, I don't know if... I mean, I don't know if it has anything to do with it, but Derek Warwick is the steward here this weekend. So I don't know if he took it personally about not giving out strong enough penalties. But yes, we saw a stop-go penalty today. We saw a drive-through penalty. I mean, that's not a stop-go penalty. Is like a 40-second penalty. A drive-through penalty is like a 30-second penalty. Like, those are severe penalties, and they were for failing to slow down under yellow flag when they came out for a second safety car, and then speeding for the pit lane. I mean, wow. Whew. Who hurt the steward? What's the gap between Ferrari? Yes, let's have an instant look at the championship, guys. What has that done to the championship? What has that done? So after yesterday, it went out to 30, and we've now got... Is that still 30? Has that been updated? I'm not sure if that's been updated. Is it? Has that been updated? Has it remained as it is? 623 take away 593. It's remained as it is, or is it? That hasn't updated, is it? Surely that hasn't updated. I don't think it has. I don't think that's updated yet. 21-point difference. Yeah. What, it's come down to 21 points, Raven, is it? Or is it come... It's not updated. That's what I thought. It was 30 points yesterday. Thank you, Anthony. Yeah, much appreciated. If you enjoyed the stream, guys, as always, hit that like and subscribe button. Big thank you to everyone who continues. Hey, over 1,000 likes. Big thank you to everyone who continues to tune into these streams. And if you'd like to support the stream further, you can join as a member as well, guys. That'd really help. It really would help, of course. It brings me closer to this being a full-time career. So let's make that a bit smaller. We can make the track map a bit smaller, and we can make you guys a bit larger now. Wow, what a race, though. What a race. Whew. We can get rid of that, and we can just put you guys there. Oh, what did I just hear, difference-wise? I just heard something in regards to difference-wise. I don't know what it was. Next week, they require both cars ahead of each other. Ferrari can't cover 21-point gap in one race. Is it 21 points? 21 points. Okay, 21 points. No, that can easily be done. Can't it? It's 12 points. 12 points in... So they need like a 1-2, don't they? They need a 1-2. So... thank you, Bruce. Much appreciated, mate. We'll be back for next season as well, man. We'll be back for next season. Could surely say that this was the most frantic race of the year. It definitely was, yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. Leclerc had a lot of points to gain on Norris. Yeah, let's see if it's updated itself. No. Yeah, it has now. It has now. No, is it not? No, sorry. When I say it's updated itself, I'm looking at the right-hand side. That's what I need to look at, is the right-hand side. So, yeah, 640 to 619. So, yeah, 21 points. They gained 26 there. Yeah, it's unlikely. It is unlikely, but they need a 1-2. So if they... What are the permutations to that? So if there's 12 points between... So if they got a 1-2, that would be 25 add 17. Oh my god, my maths is so terrible. 25 add 17. For God's sake, 25 add 17 equals 42. Oh, thank you, Nikki. Thank you for the 5, much appreciated. Let's turn on the nice alerts, shall we? Play it out again. Is it playing or not? Couldn't hear it. Couldn't hear it. Apologies. Oh. I agree with best watch along. Thank you, Natasha. What happened to Norris and Hamilton? Hamilton had an absolute shocker of a race. Absolute shocker. We'll run through that in a second. I'm just trying to work out the permutations of next week of what Ferrari maybe needs. So 42. So you can see here. So starting in... So you get 15 for seconds. So 15 adds 12... 27, yeah, 42, take away 27, it's 15. Yeah, so they really need the McLarens, one of the McLarens to finish outside the top 5. That's really what they need. Because P6 is 8 points, so let's say they got a 1-2, and then yeah, they need a 1-2, and they need one of the McLarens to at least finish outside the top 5, really. If Norris finished 3rd, as an example. But of course, you got Max there, you got the Mercedes, so. If Ferrari get a 1-2... Oh, is it 18? Oh, sorry, 18 points. Okay. Yeah, so like there's 6 points. Yeah, 6 point different, really. That Zhou plus 4 is so... Yeah, I know. Zhou Guan Yu is up to P20. Woo! Kick Sauber no longer... Oh, guys, you can't see it. Kick Sauber are no longer at the bottom with a big fat donut. Oh, I'm trying to get it up here. Hang on. I can't do it. Can I do it over here? No, I can't make it any. There we go. Kick Sauber. 4 points. 4 points. Every team has now scored points this season. Thanks, PJ. It was freaking confusing at the track. Oh, you was listening at the track, was you? I mean, it was confusing for me even here, PJ. There were so many investigations and so many penalties that were dished out. And I wasn't sure if Nico Hülkenberg... I mean, initially, I had no idea that it was debris that was the reason why Hamilton and Sainz both got punctures. I thought it was the fact that the mediums had just completely blown out because it happened in the same lap. And then, of course, Hülkenberg going out and Perez going out on the same lap as well. Like, absolutely bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. How much is between Leclerc and Norris? What is that gap? 7 points? No, 8 points. 8 points between Norris and Leclerc now in the standings. So, Ferrari would get 43 points with a 1-2. McLaren... Oh, sorry, where did that go? McLaren with a 3-4 would be 27. So that's not the 21 points they need, is it? Okay. Oscar McLaren still might get a penalty from before the race. Yes, so if he gets a penalty for that pit lane infringement, so basically what he did on the formation lap is that when they came back into the pit lane, Piastri overtook Hamilton like around his inside and basically crossed across the pit lane entry white line, which may be a penalty. We don't know. It said it was being investigated after the race. If that is the case, as Perez is being investigated, by the way, for dangerous driving. I don't know why Perez is being investigated for dangerous driving. It's so busy. We've got... what have I got here? So, Piastri... If Piastri was given a 5-second time penalty, it would leave him ahead of George Russell still. But we've seen safety infringements today with Lewis Hamilton speeding in the pit lane, and we saw Lando Norris in the pit lane as well. With failing to slow under yellow flags. We saw both of those given a stop-go penalty, and we saw a drive-through penalty. So that might be quite a severe penalty for Piastri, if they deem that to be so. And if it is, then yeah, who knows where that will drop him down to, because that's worth like a 30-second time penalty. But yeah, crazy. I need to put up, guys, I want your questions. I want your questions in... I haven't done it for some reason. Why have I not done this? Where is it? I want your questions, as always, about this race. I'm sure you've got a number of them. Let's go to... Order Qatar. GP. As always, in the community page. Here, go leave me your questions. I want them. I'll be doing a video. Lots to break down, of course, in this. I'll see if I can find anything on Twitter in regards to stats as well, because there is a lot that went on. I'm not sure. I'm trying to see. So there's a guy here who does all the stats. Just trying to see. Okay, there's no stat. I got this stat man didn't actually say anything about when the last time we saw this penalty dished out. I'm intrigued to know. So yeah, go leave me your questions there, guys. As always, I'll do my best to answer them. There's a lot to break down, of course. Piastri knows how to get those leftover points. Yeah, I did say, really, that this championship would be decided in the Constructors by how Piastri and Sainz do, not so much how Leclerc and Norris do. Because Leclerc and Norris were finishing P2 and P3 there, and then Piastri obviously was close behind, whereas Sainz was a bit off it today. So, yeah. You honestly want Ferrari to win the Constructors' Championship? They could do. Stranger things have happened. I mean, look at today. Are we going to see, for once, a crazy Abu Dhabi race? Excluding the last lap in 2021... We haven't really seen a crazy Abu Dhabi race, have we? From that kind of start to finish. So Brazil in chat saying, Brazil in 2012. Sorry, I've missed your guys' comments while I was putting that up. Oscar McLaren still might get a penalty. Yeah, we saw that. So what's the potential for Piastri? Grid drop on next race or a penalty on this race? Does anybody know the rules in that Piastri mistake? Don't know, Dusko. No. I mean, after today's race, who knows? And this is the typical thing, is that we've just seen a lack of consistency here again this weekend. And don't get me wrong, I want to see the return of drive-throughs and stop-go penalties, but I'm not sure they're really relevant to failing to slow under the yellow flag or speeding for the pit lane. I'm not sure that's really what they're supposed to be there for. For me, I want to see those sort of penalties dished out for racing rules, but breach of racing rules, not a breach of because you were 2 miles an hour over the speed limit and then you slowed down, or because of like the failing to slow under yellow flags. That's not really what I want to see those sort of penalties dished out for. I want them to be dished out for racing rules, breach of racing rules, similar, basically like what Max did in Mexico. Really, like that sort of stuff. That proper deters anyone from making those sort of decisions, because like Lando's got a 40-second time penalty there pretty much. From him entering in the pit lane to then coming out. I mean, he came to the end of the field and he was like 20 seconds behind Liam Lawson at that point. So I think that was 35 seconds in total. So maybe even more than that. Max did not take any risks that comes with getting to first place, and good defense from Nice. He kept his cool through this confusing race. Yeah, he did, yeah. And that's what Max does. That's what Max does. So, is anyone else getting penalised? Perez, maybe. He's being investigated. Piastri as well. Maybe they've forgotten about investigating Piastri because so much has gone on in this race. So, Charles Leclerc had 8-point different World Championship. Yes, yeah. So one more time, guys. Here are the updated championship standings that you can see here. So on the right-hand side, so this was their previous on the left. Add what they've gained in this race is what they've now got here. So Charles Leclerc 341 to Norris 349, 8 points difference, and you can see Ferrari got 26 points that race compared to McLaren, who got 17. So that's a 21-point difference between McLaren and Ferrari going into the last race of the season. So they've cut that points deficit by 3 for the duration of this weekend, because McLaren had a 1-2 yesterday in the sprint race, which meant that they went to out to 30 points advantage, and then Ferrari have clawed it back this race. So the Dutch anthem, PTSD. What's that, Arash? You're doing this tonight. Still can't believe Lando gambled with the points like that, regardless of whether it was harsh. You can't trust what they will hand out in any case. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what... I mean, how much did he speed on the yellow flag? I don't know. I mean, there's so much to unpackage in this race. I just need to sit. I mean, I still haven't even seen Lewis Hamilton's full start. I haven't seen Liam Lawson go causing a collision with Valtteri Bottas. I mean, there's so much I haven't seen in this race. I want to see Lance Stroll back as well, because I know the stewards dished out a 10-second time penalty for him, and I think it was his fault, but is there more that he could have done or not done? I mean, there's so much to unpackage. All the Brits bow to the Dutch anthem. Joe has the same amount of points as Lawson. Yeah. Safety car doing more laps than 2 drivers. That is so true. That is so true. So yeah, that's the constructors standings there, guys, and that's your finish for today. If we're speaking in reality, not mathematically, what do you think is the chances of Ferrari to win a World Constructors' Championship? I think it's unrealistic, because are Ferrari going to secure a 1-2 in Abu Dhabi? Possibly. But you've then got Verstappen, who's going to be there and quick enough to win the race. You've got... I don't see McLaren being that slow at Abu Dhabi. And even if Ferrari finish 1-2... is it likely that they won't finish in the top 5, both McLarens? I doubt it. I still think they'd still both finish in the top 5 if Max Verstappen is up there. So, yeah, I think they needed to do more this weekend, Ferrari, and they haven't done so. McLaren's only need a P3 next to win the World Constructors' Championship. Yeah, so yeah. Can't wait to see the new ones next season. Next season's going to be great if it continues the way it is, so... Gavin, got to head out, make yourself some dinner. Thanks for the stream as always. Yes, thank you, Gavin. Thanks for modding as always. And you, Taco. And James as well. Saw you in there. So yeah, thank you guys. Thanks, mods, as always. Much appreciated. Ocon's last race for Alpine. Heard something. Really? What have you heard? I doubt it. I don't know. I doubt it'll be the last race for Ocon. What's the best car for Abu Dhabi? I don't know. I reckon the McLaren. Again, probably. The McLaren will probably be strong. I think Max will be strong again. So, anything good about Hamilton today? No. Literally nothing good about Hamilton's race today. He had a false start. Then he picked up. Then he was off the pace, struggling with the car. Fell behind Sergio Perez. Then he got a puncture, which then put him a lap down. And then because they were driving through the pit lane in the safety car, because they had to drive through the pit lane under the safety car, he got a speeding. He got a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane under safety car conditions. And yeah, he then finished 12th. So yeah, not a good race for Lewis Hamilton. So Beefy will be good. Yeah, I think McLaren will be good. Yeah, so Abu Dhabi best car is whatever Zhou drives, but he can't be stopped. Dusko, do I bet, because the most fishy thing for me is Bet365 moving the bet on who will win the championship without Max. A couple of races ago, they simply removed it, and it's only bet points. I do bet, mainly on just like football accumulators. I've like little cheeky bets here and there, but yeah, no, I don't bet on F1. Betting companies will do what betting companies want to do at the end of the day. So, standard British bias comment. Can't have a stream without a British bias comment. British bias in F1 TV and Sky Sports crying all over the Norris penalty, while all the year we're happy about Max penalties. There's validation to being not crying, but there's validation to being a bit confused about Norris's severity in his penalty. Now, if he did speed and not slow down sufficiently under yellow flags, I have no issue with that. That's a penalty. But the severity of it is something that should be questioned, because we haven't seen a stop-and-go penalty for quite some time. Especially when I think the last time... I don't think I've ever seen, or I can't remember, the last time we saw a stop-go penalty for that type of infringement. So that's why I want to have a look back and see what the types of penalties that were dished out prior to this for the same infringement. That's what I'd like to do, because then you can do a comparison of whether or not, like, is that valid? Is that right? What do the rules say? So there's nothing to specifically state. I think we discussed this last time around. So there isn't anything that specifically states what each infringement is, Dusko. Unless, like, the drivers have agreed it prior. So there's a set amount of penalties that the stewards have in their arsenal. Drive-throughs, stop-goes, 10-second, 5-second. And it's up to the stewards to deem what they think is accessible. I don't think there's like a specific flow chart that details what infringement should be what penalty. And that's why we've seen a bit of inconsistency in the forcing the other driver off the circuit from being 5 seconds to 10 seconds. And then this time around, the stop-go penalty and the drive-through penalty. It's like we went from 0 to 100 very quickly, and there was no kind of like discussion about it, at least that the public have been known about. Maybe the drivers have discussed it previously and never agreed. But yeah, these sort of infringements are now deemed a stop-go penalty, a drive-through penalty. But yeah, exactly, Taco. It's up to interpretation, and I'm not sure. I mean, it's me personally. I don't interpret those sort of infringements as those sort of penalties. I think those infringements should be for like dangerous driving and that sort of stuff. Not and too many like penalties dished out to them. Basically, a bit like iRacing. You get too many incident points, you get a drive-through penalty. That sort of jazz. Not for just failing to slow under yellow flags and like quick enough and speeding in the pit lane. I don't see those sort of penalties as being the right application for them. That's in my opinion, but yeah. How long do I stay online after the race, Wolf? Quite a bit, really. There's no set time. We stay, we chat, we discuss. You guys ask me questions. Yeah. sometimes an hour. I think the longest I've stayed on after a race before is 2 hours. So, especially when I'm not on the podcast. If I'm not on the Missed Apex podcast, I generally tend to stay around a bit longer, so we can have a chat and I can get my thoughts out to you guys. Of course, I still have the Q&A video that I want to put together, because there's a lot that I need to digest from this race that I won't be able to answer to you all now. So be sure to tune into that. Wow. So yes, guys, you were correct. The race has reported. I'm just going to do this right now and share for you. The race have reported that Esteban Ocon is to step aside for the Abu Dhabi GP, and Jack Doohan is in line to make his F1 debut. Wow. Breaking news there, guys. Breaking news. What? What? That's unexpected. Where has that come from? Well done. Yeah, Platty. Well done. Where has that come from? Let's have a look at this article then. He's joining Haas, of course. He's been frustrated in recent fit. Obviously, he had a terrible race today. He got taken out of the first corner, no fault of his own. His remarks after the Qatar race, his previous comments on the recent performance discrepancies combined with him leaving anyway and Doohan being his replacement might change Abu Dhabi logical, if surprising. He's had enough. That's what Lewis Hamilton would like to do. Lewis Hamilton would like to do that and go, oh, can I do that? Alpine is rude, although I'm not a conceiver. Yeah. They don't want us to chill for a second. I know, what a weekend. FIA saw accusations of British bias. They responded. Yeah. And it's, look, is it coincidental that Derek Warwick, right. Conspiracy theory time. Love a conspiracy theory, guys. Right. The last time there were discussions about the severity of penalties dished out was back in Circuit of the Americas. Who was the steward at the time of those discussions being had? Derek Warwick. We then went to Mexico, and Mexico had, of course, Johnny Herbert on there, and then we saw more severe penalties after the talk of whether the penalties initially in QATAR were severe enough and the inconsistency of them. Fast forward to this weekend, we have Derek Warwick back on, and we have a bizarre penalty for Max Verstappen. And now, don't get me wrong, he's been accused of the past of being favourable to Max Verstappen because of his connections to Honda and so forth. And he's got previous in regards to some strange comments about Max in support of him. Max was obviously given that bizarre penalty yesterday, which is strange. And then today, we've seen a strange dishing out of penalties today. And now, I'm not saying the penalties weren't justified. I think in every single case we saw today, I think they were all deserved penalties. But the severity of the penalties dished out, I'm not so sure of. And I think Derek Warwick just needs to hang up the steward's book and just call it a day. Just know when like you're not. Just know when you're not at it anymore. Like, you're just not up to it. So he doesn't have any influence on penalties. He doesn't. He has the stewards dish out. So how it works is that the FIA director. Let me just change this. So what happens is that how incidents are done is that the race director will basically flag a racing incident or something that happens, pass it over to pass it over to the stewards for deeming whether it's acceptable or not, and then the stewards rule whether or not if it's deemed a penalty, and then they decide the level of penalty. That's what they do. So sorry, I'm just reading something. Oh, by the way, there's also an element of this is a new race director as well. This is a new race director because they sacked the old one. So we've got a new race director. I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it, but and I'm not sure. Yeah, that my understanding is that they don't. The race director doesn't dish out the severity of the penalty. It's the stewards that do so. But I could be wrong there. I could be wrong. Warwick, Herbert. Oh, those old drivers remember so well. Sucks politics. That's to get in the way of fun. Yeah. I mean, I just think we should have, regardless of your allegiances and so forth. Look, whichever driver you support, sometimes your driver's going to get the rub of the green, and sometimes they aren't, in regards to like penalties being dished out. But what we want as race fans is a level of consistency. We want to be able to look at an incident and know straight away from an enjoyment and a viewer's perspective, that's a 5-second time penalty, a 10-second time penalty, a stop go, a drive through. That's what we want to know, and we don't get that. We don't get that, and these sorts of penalties have such an impact on the race, as we've just seen. Like, regardless of your support for Max Verstappen, I think you would arguably would have liked to have seen Lando and Max go wheel to wheel again with 8 laps remaining. Ultimately, it's Lando's fault because he sped under yellow flags, but a drive-through penalty did remove that possibility entirely with Max. Whereas if it was maybe a maybe if it was a 5-second time penalty or even a 10-second time penalty, there's still a race for the win. Lando can still try and get past and try and build a gap. But the drive-through completely nullifies that. And I'm not sure that speeding under the double yellow flags, for the short period of time that it was a split second that he did so, I'm not sure that warrants that level of penalty, in my opinion. So, and that's why we should have race stewards, a set amount of race stewards the same race stewards, same team of race stewards, week in, week out, that are directly employed by the FIA. They're not volunteers, they don't put their hands up for it, and they do it week in, week out so that we get consistency. And also transparent. They are not, I mean, they become a little bit more transparent. They put out their findings, don't they, afterwards with the race, with the notes and so forth. They don't come out and get interviewed afterwards and so forth. Right, it's just... Lando had a chance to become the champion. He's now at the risk of falling behind Charles next week and finishing third. I know, Miley. I know. You should watch YouTube arriving at Go video. He was all dressed up in news. Huh? Sorry, David. That doesn't make sense. Okay, watching now the penalty analysis. It wasn't the original incident. It was something else on lap 30. Yeah, I've got it on Sky now as well. Now, I've just looked at it. It's clearly shown at WOs. Yeah, no, I don't disagree that Lando should have got a penalty. I think he should have done. If you speed under double yellows, you don't slow sufficiently, you deserve a penalty. But is it really a stop and go penalty? Oh, you think the poll's done? Yeah. 1,700 votes, 55% Zhou Guan Yu. My faith in the fan base has been restored. It's 55% Zhou Guan Yu. Very well deserved. Very well deserved. Hey, Sam. Yeah, true. Maybe just drive through. I don't know. Hard to call. I just don't think a drive through is worthy of that infringement. I think it should just be a 10 second, a 5. I think 10 second probably. 10 seconds. Stop and go is way too harsh. That's a 40-second time penalty. That's so severe. So severe. And it's also robbed us of a race for the win. They all talk about entertainment and so forth, don't they? Well, we want to see battles for the win, and we were robbed of that today. Look, Max may very well have held on to the lead. He'd already had done so with Lando down into turn 1, but we at least don't... by that drive-through penalty being issued, that's at least been totally removed from us. So, Lando deserves a 10-second time penalty, but stop goes way too harsh. I agree, Gaming, yeah. Because a 10-second time penalty, I'm not saying Lando probably would have made a 10-second advantage over Max. I don't think he would have done. But we at least would have seen Lando try and go for the win and try and build up that gap. And ultimately, we want to see these drivers go side by side because we get a buzz off of it. So, Sauber was... I said before the race they would get points. Did you actually, Dusko? I missed that. I'll have to go back and check that you're not lying. Of course, he knew he'd go in. Being Australian, happy Jack doing to have 2 again after Rick. Yeah. Okay, so Ocon knows he's going. Yeah, he's obviously come to an agreement. It's got toxic between Ocon and the team there, for sure. Monaco, it definitely hit boiling point, didn't it? They've had change of leadership and so forth. So, yeah, he's probably just like, I'm happy to go. He probably just wants to go home, to be fair. Probably wants to go home, start the season. Like, just, yeah, chill now, really. Slow down and be prepared to stop. Is the rule in? They're always very strict about it. Yeah, no, we don't disagree that a penalty should have been given. But the fact of it, he had, hang on. Yeah, someone's tweeted, after so many important decisions over the weekend, wouldn't it be refreshing if we got a full explanation from the FIA race director? Full transparency as pledged by the president at the start of the 22 season. Oh, how brilliant would it be? Would it be for that? So, hey Andy, Ocon will get the last laugh at Toyota Haas. Oh, imagine. Wasn't they supposed to allow Lewis Hamilton to overtake the safety car because he was the lap car? Yes, yeah. So because he had, unfortunately for Lewis, he picked up his puncture appeared almost instantly. It was like almost not an instant puncture, but it happened like it came for. He had the puncture like a couple of corners later, whereas Carlos Sainz's puncture didn't really come through and happen until he was a lot closer to the pits. So Lewis basically went to the back of the grid, yeah, Carlos Sainz still he only lost like one position, I think. So Carlos Sainz kind of got away with it. Lewis didn't. Who won? What happened? You missed everything. Oh, where have you been, IS? Where have you been? If there's an infringement in the pit lane, is that ultimately a stop and go penalty because that is also served in the pit lane? No. So stop and go. So hang on. Speeding in the pit lane. Penalty. So the World Endurance Championship, but that's not. So in the World Endurance Championship, I just googled it. It comes up with a drive-through penalty. Oh, no, it is. Okay, so speeding in the pit lane. The last time there was a drive-through penalty, last time there was a speeding in the pit lane penalty, it was to Lewis Hamilton. And it was a drive-through penalty in Miami in the sprint race. But because there was no pit stop, it was deemed to be a 20-second added penalty. 20-second time penalty added at the end of the race. So let me just show you this, guys. Hang on. So you can see here. Let me just. So Lewis Hamilton, 2024 Miami Grand Prix. Lewis was the last driver to get a pit lane speeding penalty, and he got 20 seconds at the end because it was a sprint time. So yeah, I think because Lewis was fighting for like P7 or something, wasn't it? It was with Magnussen. And yeah. So that's what he got, yeah. I don't know if there's a... In regards to not slowing for... Oh, hang on. For yellow... For double... yellow flags. Penalty. Don't really see. I don't know, it doesn't really show me. Question on engines, who is the best one now? Oh, don't know really. I think they're all pretty similar. When was the last time someone did that in a race? I don't. That's just the thing. That's what it's saying, but I'm not sure. Max gets 5 place grid penalty at Qatar Grand Prix. 5 place grid penalty. Williams have got an article here at the start of the season, and drivers must be ready to stop if necessary. But what's the penalties for them? Doesn't really say, really. Just says they're usually a grid penalty. Normally means double yellow flag indicates requiring drivers to be prepared to stop if necessary. Will typically receive a penalty. 2017, Kimi had it. Oh, hang on, what's this? This is 2012. Not sure. Not sure, guys. Not sure. Share a link. It said, yeah, go on, share the link. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Kimi in 2017. I can't be the last time someone was
Join Bet365.
No. Yeah, I really don't know. Really, it was 2017 the last time someone was dished like thing for speeding under double yellow flags. That's something, isn't it? If that is the case. Yet enough like Lewis. Hopefully refresh next year. By the way, 25, 30-year-old F1 watching your stream. Maybe 25th time watching stream. First time commenting. Oh, thank you, David. You're not first time commenting. I've seen you comment here before, buddy. Welcome back, though, man. Welcome back. Yes, I mean we've done every race this year. Every race. I think yesterday was the first time I've missed qualifying all year. While they were recovering Max's car. Oh, was that the one through? I think I remember that one. Yeah. That was Spa, wasn't it? Was it Spa? Wasn't that Spa? It was at the top of Eau Rouge, wasn't it? He came over for Eau Rouge, Radion, started the Kemmel straight, wasn't it? Need to make a hard decision on it. Can't be messing around with safety. Just make it serious enough to be a proper deterrent. Yeah, look, Lily, if this is the case, and it is deemed that this is the penalty, and always has been, okay, fair enough. But they've not exactly been transparent with us, and that's the problem. And they've been so inconsistent. Oh, thank you, Richard.
Richard Sayao donated $1.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you, much appreciated. Gasly speeding under the red flag in Suzuka, kind of similar 2022. Was that given as well? Was that giving us a penalty for him? I'm sure it will be clarified post like race and stuff, but no, they haven't. It's ridiculous. Shouldn't have to be questioning it, but here we are. Yeah, I know exactly, and that's not what we should be as fans. Like we want to know. It's like in football, right? For the most part, we know a two-footed challenge is a red card, don't we? We know. Oof, we've seen that 9 times out of 10. A two-footed challenge gets a red card. Obviously, excluding all the other rules in football and so forth. But in F1, it seems like we just don't know. One race, the severity, like a penalty can be this. It could be 5 seconds. The next time, it can be 10 seconds, and then the next race, an infringement can be a stop-go penalty. It's just a lot. It's just a lot. Soccer, football here in the UK, in England, Taco. Actually, it reminds me. What was the Man City score and Liverpool? Liverpool beat Man City 2-0. Great to see. Great to see. I'm not a Liverpool fan. It's just great to see Man City. Apologies, City fans. It's just great to see Man City struggle. You're about to launch in a TV. Do I think Ferrari being upgraded to the last push? Maybe given. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Just don't get why F1 penalties are so inconsistent. Just inconsistent stewards. That's the problem. We have different stewards week in, week out, and there's no set. There's no set. Hey, Richard! Thank you for the $1.99 again, man. Appreciate it, buddy.
Richard Sayao donated $1.99 through Super Chat.
I don't think... Sorry, there's no set, like, guidelines in regards to, like, what should equate to what penalty, basically. It's too wishy-washy. It's too up for interpretation. They have a set amount of penalties in their arsenal to use. Like, if they really wanted to, the stewards, they could give a drive-through penalty for forcing another driver off the track. Like, that's what they could do if they really wanted to, or a stop-go penalty. But that's the level of control that they have, but they don't. And unfortunately, there's no actual, like, chart. And I know F1 isn't, like, normally black and white. There's so many different variables in incidents and so forth. But you can pretty much generalize and group a lot of the incidents together and what should result in the severity of a penalty, basically. So you can't cope with the winter break, Nathan. I know. Don't worry. I'll keep the F1 content coming for you. I've got a 3-week break coming up. It's my last week at work, and then I'm off for Christmas. So I'm hoping to get some more live streams in my sim racing content. I raced Mick Schumacher the other day. So no doubt all the F2 boys will be back on iRacing soon, and the F1 boys as well that race. I've seen Oscar Piastri and a few practice sessions, so tune into those. And I'll be keeping, of course, the F1 content coming as well, opinionated content, reacting to some news and so forth. I'm not like these channels that just react to every bit of F1 news that appears on Twitter or Reddit. That's not me. I don't have the time to do that. That's not what my channel is about. So, yeah. But I will react to kind of like the big pieces of content and stuff that I think's worthy commenting on and adding my opinion and thoughts on things. So, to be honest, the FIA, they just give whatever to keep the championship alive. You think they've done... Oh, cynical there, Hyber. Cynical. To be honest, FIA always make bad penalty decisions to make the finale more of a spectacle, like in 21 and Norris. Yeah, cynical there as well, Ted. Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. I don't know. Richard! Again! Thank you, man. Why is it not coming up but I can like it? I don't farm content for views. I don't have the time as well. I don't have the time like these guys. I wonder where they get it from. They're able to just log on and just do a video like that on every bit of posts that's put on Twitter and Reddit, and fair play to them for doing it. But yeah, I can't do that. I don't have the time. Your guys' conversation, it's because it's so much more entertainment instead of used to be more sports. Yeah, lots of cynical people in the... lot of cynicism in the chat, guys. Lots of cynicism. That's my take too. The penalties today felt like theatrics. I mean, I think, look, sometimes you can put things down to coincidence or a lack of experience or so forth, but there is a pattern that occurs when Derek Warwick, the steward, is at a race. And whenever, more often than not, he doesn't have a quiet weekend when it comes to penalties dished out. There's always some form of controversy and discussion about the level of penalties or whether a penalty should have been given when it wasn't, or whether penalty shouldn't have been given. Like, that seems to me like someone who is just not... There's either considerable amount of bias happening from the individual in these decisions, or he's just incompetent. Sometimes people are just incompetent in their roles. I'm sure everyone has worked in, no matter what industry you work in, you have worked with an employee who you just look at and you go, look, you might be a nice person, but you're just not cut out for this role. You're not. And that's the case in sport as well, especially when it comes to like refs and stuff. And yeah, I think we need, and on the Missed Apex podcast in particular, it was a great podcast with Brad Philpott and Spanners, and they put a great case forward about how they would shape stewards for F1 and how there would be professional stewards. We are a sport. The F1 is like the only professional sport in the world where they don't have professional referees. Now, the race director is a professional because you need a certain like qualification to get up to there and stuff. But stewards in particular, they're volunteers. They're not actually professionals. They're not part of a body. They don't have a qualification. Or their qualification is that they used to be a driver, or they've worked in the FIA or something like that. And there should be a body that is put up, a test that's put up, a qualification for you to become a steward. And I think that's how it should work, especially when there's so much money on the line as well in F1. And you're leaving these decisions. Yes, the race director makes a decision to whether or not something should be investigated off to the stewards, but then it's like he's handing... It's like me having a contract in my job in construction as the professional, as qualified, and going, right, guys, you should investigate that contract and put it together, and you should basically like put it together and see whether it's worth signing to a bunch of trainees, basically. And then I take their word for it, sign that contract, and hand it off for like a multi-million-pound contract. That's the metaphor I'm kind of using, or simile I'm trying to use there. Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And they should have your former supervisor. Yeah, you've been that employee trained. I'm sure we have. I'm sure some of us have been that employee. But, you know, it's just... How do we not have a professional stewards? Like, Johnny Herbert hasn't done a qualification to become a steward. He's just a former driver. Same as Derek Warwick. Same as a number of these stewards. Whereas they should go through a whole process of tests and a qualification to deem that they are professional. That's what I think. Like football refs, like umpires in tennis, like cricket umpires, like any sport, really. Any sport. Rugby. Yeah, it's mad, really. It's mad. FIA 24 F1 Sporting Regulation 54 should be read. Should I copy paste it here? Yeah, go on, Dave. Copy and paste it here, mate. How long is it? What is it, man, in regards to? They just changed race director. They did, yeah. But I don't disagree with the incidents that were investigated today. So my understanding is that the race director tells the stewards what to investigate. And then what they deem to be a penalty or not a penalty is up to them. And the severity of the penalty is decided by the stewards. It's not decided by the race director. That's my understanding. And the race director today, I think overall has probably done okay. Like, that's not... Everything that got a penalty today should have got a penalty. But they didn't... The severity of the penalties is what is in question. So... regards to power unit usage, Max has used 6, Perez 5, Lewis 5 as well. 4 is allowed. Do penalties transfer to next year? No, I don't think so. It all goes to this year. It all goes to this year. Also, the fact that F1 can never be fully right. Someone always have a blow up on Twitter about it. Oh, yeah. I mean, look. And that's why I always try and think logical about things, because people are very quick to go to blow their top online and stuff like that. And it's just, we always try and break things down here. I always try and think of things logically. And look, if you guys have more information than me, fair be it. And I will change my opinions based on that. Like now, my understanding is about the race director. If I'm wrong, then the race director does need to be held accountable in regards to the severity of the penalties, not so much the stewards, but even so. I like hearing your get along while watching the actual race in mute. It's just me. Oh, thank you, mate. Lots of people seem to like my commentary than others, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and choosing these streams to watch F1 with, because I enjoy. I watched qualifying yesterday, or the end of qualifying yesterday, and it was so on TV, and I missed so much. I missed my data. And I missed you chat as well. So. Is there money talk to being a steward volunteer too? I don't know if they get paid for it. I actually don't know if they get paid for it, to be fair. I imagine it might be one of those where they get they get benefits. So they get their accommodation and flights paid for and free food, that sort of stuff. And then they do the actual role for free. I think it's like that. I think so. Do I invest in gold? I don't know. No, Bill. No. Can I ask what GPU I'm using, Aaron? Yes, I'm using a 4070, mate. Yeah, 4070. I'm sure you'll see you out there, Aaron. Yeah, I've got a 4070 with a 7800X3D. CPU made a massive difference, man. Because iRacing is very CPU heavy. I upgraded my GPU, and I still had to run everything on low, and I was having issues recording and streaming. So I upgraded my CPU, and yeah, sorted it right out. Would have loved to have been able to go live with you last week from Vegas, Smiley. Was hosted by McLaren. I told Landover usually watch you via... Did you really? He was probably like, who? Or probably just like, yeah, okay. Nah, thank you, man. You're next with them for Bahrain 2025. Any previous similar for the series to the penalty? I don't know. Yeah, that's what we've been trying to investigate. I'll have to look. So, how do you become a steward in the first place? Mainly, I think it's just you've been a former driver and you just know someone within the FIA. I think it's literally as simple as that. So, systems broken in sounds like a lot of lobbying make them professionals. I agree, Raven. Yeah, I agree. And look, hopefully, the presidency of the FIA is up for a re-election next year. So hopefully someone stands up against Ben Sulayem, because that whole the way he's running it at the moment is just terrible. You need someone to go in there and just I don't even need to shake it up, just reorder it. I mean, it's no coincidence that there's been so many personnel changes in the FIA over the last 2 years or 3 years since he came into power. Like, that's no coincidence. And as I've said before, people don't leave bad jobs, they leave bad management. And clearly, they're leaving his leadership, which is a real shame for us fans, because we've got the state that the FIA is in at the moment. And yeah, I mean, look, if those decisions today and the dishing out of penalties is the result of, does eventually come down to the race director, then, I mean, is it their fault? Well, it is to an extent, but they have come in with 3 races to go, and not ever handled F1 before. And maybe they've taken the dishing out penalties too harshly, but I'm still pretty sure that ultimately relies, that it's down to the stewards who have to dish out the severity of the penalties. So, can I run down a 2025 grid in the meantime? Yeah, there is a graphic. Let me see if I can find it. F1 2025 grid that I can show you of the grid. There is a graphic. Where is it? Images. Ted Kravitz has just confirmed Ted Kravitz has just confirmed live on Sky TV that Esteban Ocon will not race in Abu Dhabi. He has done his last run-in as an Alpine driver. Just listening right now, Jack Doohan will be in for Abu Dhabi. Hang on. They're explaining about the tests with Haas. Okay, so there is a test post Abu Dhabi. Hang on. So Esteban Ocon wanted to do the post-season test in Abu Dhabi on the Tuesday after the race on the weekend. Esteban Ocon approached Flavio Briatore, and Flavio Briatore went, well, what's in it for me? They have come to an agreement that he could only do the test with Haas on the Tuesday if he steps down for the race in Abu Dhabi. And that is what they have come to an agreement on. And yeah, Ocon will be starting with Haas on the Tuesday, and Doohan will be in on the Sunday. Wow. Bearing in mind, there's a constructors title still up. There's a sixth in the constructors is still up for grabs. That's why Ocon said goodbye like that. Yeah. And to be fair to Ocon, that first corner incident wasn't his fault. Hulkenberg got a snap of oversteer, tank slapper, and basically whacked into the side of Ocon's front wheels. Hulkenberg's rears on Ocon's front wheels, and it moved Ocon straight into Colapinto. And yeah. That's, wow. Fair for both drivers? Yeah, fair for both drivers, but also, wow. I mean, great for Jack Doohan. Great for Jack Doohan. See another youngster on the grid. You're once again wishing the worst for Alpine, Andy. Yeah, so crazy. Absolutely crazy. The applicable paragraph is longer than the space provided in your chat box. I could forward a copy of FA reg to you. It is 1 point. How do I get it to you? Join the Discord, Dave. Link is in the description below, and you can send me a message there, mate. If you do that, you can share it in the real life racing one, or just send me a PM, mate, on Discord. That's not Alpine being rude. My bad. No, that's Boratori going. Because that's similar to Lewis, isn't it? So Lewis Fred Vasseur wanted Lewis to be in the post-race test, a post-season test, but Mercedes have they're like, look, you're still contracted to the end of the year. We've still got a load of things to do with sponsors for you, send-offs and so forth. And Lewis is like, okay, fair enough. Plus, would it really be right to see Lewis Hamilton in the post-season test for the first time in Ferrari? I imagine Ferrari would love to make it like this big, massive, like show type thing. Lewis Hamilton in their car for the first time next season. So I'm a teacher looking at a test of my students while listening to you. That's what we're here for, Emil. That's what we're here for. Can you give me your thoughts on previous comment, please? What was your previous comment, Josco? If I make an engine that lasts 3 races and blow it intentionally on the 4th race, is that fair? Because in 3 races you gain more than you lose, 25 points against. No, you still get penalties. You still get the penalties on top of that. So, yeah, if you go above your allocation, the penalty becomes more severe, and they can like add together, because you're not just changing the internal combustion unit, you're changing other parts around it as well, which also have a severity in the penalty. So in different penalties. So imagine Bottas 24th in a 20 driver championship. The stewards may impose any one of 9 different penalties for any incident during either a sprint or a race. There we go. Yeah, so that's what I thought. That is what I thought. I thought yeah, that was the case. I did think that was the case. It's down to the stewards then. They've up again, didn't they? Right, sorry, I'm trying to get the grid for next season, and where is it? 2025 driver lineup. So I've got it here. So right, Lana didn't know there was a yellow. Oh, that's what I mean. There's so much for me to unpackage in this race, guys. Leave me your questions in the community page, as always, and I'm going to put a video together, because I need to go have something to eat, and I need to go take everything in, because it's a bit mad. This race was a bit mad, wasn't it? There's a lot to take on board. So I've already got 15 comments. Oh my god. Right, so this is the grid for next year. Now, we know that this is confirmed as Bortoletto. The only seat that isn't confirmed is Liam Lawson's seat. That is literally it. Liam Lawson's seat is the only one that is yet to be confirmed for next year. So this is an old graphic. It's an old graphic. Bortoletto is in. I tried to find the updated one, but that's what I've got. So how much Dusko? I don't know. I don't actually know. I really don't know how much more severe it is. But I know it does get added on because you've seen the likes of Liam Lawson, you saw the likes of Zhou Guanyu this year, Yuki Tsunoda. They ended up getting like, that's, you know, when they get like 60 place grid penalties, 30 place grid penalties, that's the accumulation of them going over their allowance and those penalties adding up on top of each other. So if you actually change, you go over your allocation and you actually change every single part on your engine, then you can end up, yeah, with like a 60 place grid penalty. That's sad because he literally DNF before turn 1, no fault of his own. I know. Well, it's not like Ocon's disappearing, is it? It's not, and he's probably looking forward to kind of the weekend off, to be honest, and starting with his new team. So, but yeah, Lando not seeing the yellows is interesting. That's interesting. So, you don't think Liam Lawson deserves the seat as much as the others? You reckon? Ooh. I need to see what happened with Liam Lawson down into turn 1 with Bottas. He got a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision, but I'm not sure if... I'm going to refuse to comment until I've seen it. Good to see you, Mike. Good to see you. Yes, he has, but this is recency bias again, Taco. Just because he's had a couple of poor weekends doesn't mean that he's a bad driver. He's did very well in QATAR. He did well in, like... The car wasn't quick enough in Mexico. It just wasn't. And he still did well in Mexico. Held his own against Perez and that. The race after that. What was the race after that, Mexico? We went to... I can't remember where else we went to. Like, he's done well. He has done well in the short time he's been in F1. But, like, just because he's had a couple of bad races in the last... Like, not been up to speed the last couple of races. I need to see his sprint race start yesterday as well, because his start was a bit poor. He started P10 and he ended up like dropping down at the start. So I need to see what happened there as well. Why is Perez there? Money! Because he brings in a shed load of cash. Remember when McLaren had a 105 place grid drop at total? I do remember, yeah. I do remember that, yeah. So... Danny Rick is going to end up with a better finish than Checo, Yuki, and Liam. Bottas as well, but he has no chances on keeping a seat next year. Yep, no, Bottas isn't there. Bottas might be the reserve driver for Mercedes. They've just released Mick Schumacher, haven't they? So I think they'll fill the reserve driver for Bottas, probably. So FIA have given Lando 3 penalty points too. Ooh. I mean, look, if he has, even if he didn't see it, it's not an excuse. It's just not an excuse. You should see it, and you should slow down for it. And if he is sped in a double yellow zone, deserves a penalty for it. But the severity of it is obviously another question entirely. So, sadly, Checo is embarrassing himself. Yeah, I mean, today wasn't his fault. The engine went on him. Sounds like a hydraulic failure. He was being investigated for... I'm just going to do that so I can have a look on Twitter and see what else, see if there's anything new that's come up. Race decided by a wing mirror. Yeah, that's very interesting, isn't it? Just trying to see... Yeah, confirmation of Esteban Ocon online. Yeah, not really much else to come out yet. Not much else to come out. Nothing on Piastri. Nothing on Piastri yet. Just trying to see. Oh, Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll was deemed to... Hang on. There you go. It's Lance Stroll's thing. So... Right. 10-second time penalty, 2 penalty points as well. He's got 4 for the 12-month period. Car 18, Stroll, rode the curb, which created understeer, taking his car into the side of car 23, Albon. Despite this being a lap 1 incident, the collision was not the result of a normal lap 1 crowding, so the usual tolerance for lap 1 instances is not applicable. Basically, yeah, he carried too much speed, rode the curb. Yeah, he rode the curb, which created understeer. So basically, driving error caused him to go straight into the side of him. So the stewards are Gary Connolly, Derek Warwick, Mathieu Romero, Remery, Amro Alhad Hamad. So yeah, so the race director's name isn't even on there. So Joe scored 4 times Perez over the last 4 races. Wow. Perez wins Abu Dhabi with a new engine. Even that wouldn't mean Perez will win Abu Dhabi. Yeah, you have to take a long-term average before you can grade a driver. Yeah, and I mean, look. Like, Yuki has... I mean, Yuki's been in the car for 4 years. Like, people go, oh, yeah, Yuki should be beating... Like, Yuki's, like, should be beating Lawson. So, yeah, he should be. He's been in F1 for 4 bloody years. Liam Lawson's he's jumped into a car halfway through the season last year and then had to jump out of it again. And then this year, he's jumped in right at the end. So, he's already been given... substantial amount of time to prove himself, unlike Yuki, who's been afforded 4 years, you know. So great tandem, Warwick and Connolly. Yeah, so that's it, guys, really, for this watch along. I'm what is the time? I don't even know what the time is. 6:45. Where is the time gone, guys? Where is the time gone? What a unbelievable race, though. I'm gonna go unpack this whole race. I'm going to have to go back and watch the highlights. I'm going to have to watch some onboards online and just see what has happened. As Lewis Hamilton was told, he was saying, Bono went, we'll serve the penalty in this lap. Lewis went, park the car, mate, retire the car, mate. And Bono went, negative. Lewis went, I'm switching off when I get there, mate. And then Bono went, if you want a 5-second penalty next race, then it's fine. Lewis was done. Lewis was done after getting that penalty. Oh, dear. There's so much coming out from the FIA in regards... Sorry, I'm just going to check these before I do disappear in regards to incidents. So... what else is there? So Liam Lawson got a 10-second time penalty for understeering into Valtteri Bottas for entering turn 1. Seen the Lance Stroll one. And that was basically it, yeah. So. Oh, cool. Cool. All right, guys, what a day. What a race. I did not expect that race to be like it was. Thank you for everyone for tuning in, as always. Much appreciated. Yeah, we'll be back, of course, for next week for the last race of the season. Wow. 24 race weekends. Unbelievable. And we've done every single one of them. Every single one of them. So, yeah, big thank you for everyone continuing to tune into these live streams and the continued support. If you want a question answered, if I've missed it in the chat, if I've missed it in the chat, if you've got another question that you want answered, and I'll try and answer, leave it in the community page. There is a post there of like wanting your questions, and I'll try and answer everything that I can, really. So yeah, is Oscar under investigation? Yes, I think so. There's nothing that's come out about him. They've probably forgotten he was even put under investigation. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, thank you guys. Have a lovely rest of your Sunday or Monday. Have a good start to your week. Yeah, I'll do that video. It'll probably be up tomorrow. To be honest with you, I'll try and start filming it tonight, but we'll see. But yeah, have a lovely rest of your day. We'll catch you in the week for some sim racing content and some more F1 content, no doubt. And yeah, one more week to go. One more race weekend to go, guys. Thank you as always. Have a lovely rest of your day. We'll see you then. Bye.